Showdown time in the Southeastern Conference as the Gator Television Network presents one of college football's great rivalries, the Georgia Bulldogs against the University of Florida Fightin' Gators.
The Gator Television Network presents University of Florida football. Fightin' Gator football is brought to you by Coors Beer. The best of the Rockies is yours. Zenith. The quality goes in before the name goes on. The members of Dairy Farmers Incorporated, local producers of real, fresh Florida milk. Atlantic Bank, the best bank around. Your Florida and South Georgia Ford dealers. Have you driven a Ford lately? Likes meat. Old-fashioned goodness is better. Scotty's, serving Florida with over 100 convenient locations. Farm Credit Service, farming spoken here. Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade is thirst aid for that deep down body thirst. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Florida. We hear you and are working on the answers. Eastern Airlines. We earn our wings every day. And by Florida Citrus Commission. Orange you smart?
Georgia, Florida Day at the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville. A renewal of this classic rivalry between two great football teams in 1984. Hi, everybody. This is Larry Osterman along with Jim Yarbrough. Welcome to today's telecast. Again, it's all here. It has been a great tradition, a great history of outstanding football games between these teams, and it looks as though we're going to have another in the long series today.
Oh, you better believe it. It doesn't get any better than Georgia, Florida. One of the interesting things about this ball game is there's really no home field advantage. There's 35,000 Georgia folks and 35,000 Gators, and it's an exciting afternoon. I was here as a player, and it doesn't get any better than this.
Well, Vince Dooley, of course, has had sensational success as the head coach at the University of Georgia. On the other hand, Galen Hall has enjoyed outstanding success in his very limited career as the interim head coach at the University of Florida. So we've got two guys that have enjoyed a lot of things, but really in their respective capacities, it's been a different ballgame.
Well, major college programs hope and pray for a Vince Dooley. If you could get a coach like Vince Dooley to come in and run your program like Dooley has done at Georgia for 20 years, you've got it made in the shade. They don't get better than Vince Dooley. He's a professional. He gets his players up to win ball games even when their talent might not be there. He's been underrated. When Bear Bryant was getting all the publicity in the South, a lot of people overlooked Vince Dooley, and he needs to be looked at because of his tremendous record.
Now, the influence of Galen Hall, of course, you talk so much about the laid-back atmosphere. This is not an uptight team coming into this game.
No, that's one of the things Vince Dooley has done so well is he gets his teams ready to play whatever it takes. And I think Galen Hall has those qualities. He's proven to this point the Gators have reeled off 6 big victories, and it's going to be a big day for Galen Hall and the Gators this afternoon.
Every great program, of course, has to have an outstanding quarterback. And it's unique this year that there are 2 freshman quarterbacks who get the start in a game of this magnitude.
Right. They're both redshirt freshmen. Kerwin Bell has had a tremendous year for the Gators to this point. David Dukes wasn't expected to see much action for the Georgia Bulldogs earlier in the year, but he's come on with an injury to Todd Williams. And so Dukes and Kerwin Bell are going to see a lot of action. Most freshmen usually come to this game and cheer. These guys come and lead their ball clubs.
Jim, you played in this game. What goes through the player's mind just before kickoff?
Well, generally you got butterflies in your tummy, but this afternoon the guys got 747s in there taxiing around, and they can't wait to get out there and hit somebody with a different color jersey on.
Well, it won't be long. We'll be back with a kickoff of the Florida-Georgia football game on the Gator Television Network.
Georgia, we know you, courageous and brave, the country you honor.
You can now buy this famous
championship, high national rankings, a lot at stake in this afternoon's football game at the Gator Bowl. And as we mentioned earlier, Georgia has a 4-0 record in the SEC. The Gators and the Tigers are deadlocked at 3-0-1 in the Southeastern Conference. Florida ranked 10th in this week's AP poll. The University of Georgia ranked number 8. We talked about the young fella David Dukes will get the start at quarterback this afternoon for Georgia, but undoubtedly we'll see some of Todd Williams, who has been sidelined with an injury.
Yeah, we understand that Todd Williams, number 15, who is out with shoulder separation, will see a lot of action this afternoon, so don't be surprised to see 2 quarterbacks on the field from time to time by the Georgia Bulldogs.
As you can see and hear in the background, the toss of the coin is taking place. The University of Florida has won the toss and has elected to receive. So, first possession. We talk about dominating football games and getting the upper hand at the start of a football game. The Gators will have that opportunity here this afternoon.
Oh, it's so critical to get out there and take charge immediately and let the other guys know that you're in charge of this ball game. So the first series, the coaches hope and pray that their first series is always a powerful series, especially on offense, when you get that ball and ram it down the other folks' throat.
A week ago, the University of Georgia had a tough time against Memphis State, winning by a score of 13-3. Just 118 yards in total offense were posted by the Bulldogs. But this is a little bit different type of a football team that the Bulldogs bring in today. It is a team that is composed of a number of running backs. Not one outstanding individual, but a number of guys that can do the job.
Yeah, you don't see a guy like Herschel Walker come on the scene very often, and thank goodness from the point of view of the Florida Gators. But Vince Dooley, entering this season, thought that he would go into the season with maybe 3 or 4 guys that carrying the ball from the tailback and the fullback position to give the opponent a different look, and that's exactly what they've been doing, and they've had some great success. They put a lot of points on the board against Vanderbilt. I think they scored 62 points, so they know how to play offense.
They scored 62 against Vandy and came back with 37 against Kentucky before struggling for the victory against Memphis State. Florida has beaten Auburn and Georgia back-to-back only 4 times in 32 efforts, but 1984 is another year. The victory is in the column for the Gators against Auburn, a commanding 24-3 victory a week ago. As you can see, it is a jam-packed red and orange stadium on the shores of the St. Johns River here in Jacksonville.
Well, they say that red and orange clash, and never is that more evident than here this afternoon.
The Bulldogs will kick off to this man, Lorenzo Hampton, who has had a sensational senior year in 5 of the last 9 games. The Bulldogs picked up victories, cost the Gators an SEC title. That is something that the Gators will hope to avoid here this afternoon. Gary Roll and Ricky Nattiel are back along with Hampton as Kevin Butler, the premier kicker in the nation, will kick off for the University of Georgia. This crowd has been alive since about 11:30 this afternoon, whooping it up with the orange and blue chant from side to side, and the Georgia Bulldog from end zone to end zone. We are about ready for the 1984 Classic. Florida and Georgia from the Gator Bowl. Here's Butler's kickoff. A high end-over-end kick will carry to the end zone and bounces on out. So it'll be brought out to the 20-yard line, where it'll be first down, and Kerwin Bell will get the shot at quarterback. He has hit 74 of 135 for over 1,200 yards. He has thrown just 5 interceptions. He has completed 11 touchdown passes. So Kerwin Bell gets the start. He'll have Neil Anderson, John L. Williams, Ricky Nattiel, Gary Roll, and Walter Odom to work with offensively. And the big guys up front, Kerr, Zimmerman, Bromley, Hinson, and Lomas Brown. The first play from scrimmage for the University of Florida. Nattiel is split wide to the right, and Gary Roll flanked to the left. They have a slot to the left. That's Odom. He's in motion to the right. Kerwin Bell pitches back to John L. Williams, hit behind the line of scrimmage, and he is decked there by John Little, a sophomore from Lynn Haven, Florida, who came up from his roverback spot and made the hit for a loss.
This was a big play for the Gators last week, bringing the tight end across in motion, having him kick out on the cornerback.
Defensively for Georgia, it's Ruff, Chumley, Harris, Sims, and Hewitt up front. And it's Culpepper, an outstanding linebacker, with Boswell, Flack, Harris, Little, and Sanchez, who has been injured, but does get the start here this afternoon. Sanchez has been bothered by a bruised groin and did not see much action on the practice field this past week. We have an official's timeout down on the field. The ball is just short of the 18-yard line, a loss of 2 plus a few inches. Kerwin Bell takes the opportunity to come to the near sideline to talk with head coach Galen Hall.
One thing we're going to look at this afternoon is Georgia likes to line a lot of folks up near that line of scrimmage. On their defensive scheme of things, they'll play about 8 guys within 2 or 3 yards of the line of scrimmage. So they expect to have a lot of folks up there to stop that powerful Florida running game.
But will that help the Florida passing attack?
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things Kerwin Bell has done so well this year is his efficiency rating. He doesn't do things that hurts the ball club. He does a lot of things that don't get that much attention, but very seldom does he do anything that will hurt the ball club.
Well, we should return to action here in a moment. John L. Williams to carry the ball for the first time this afternoon. You saw his stats. We have played just 3 seconds, and we should resume play. I'm not sure exactly what the official timeout call was made for, but nevertheless it was whistled. And it'll be 2nd down and 12 for the University of Florida. The ball just short of the 18-yard line.
Evidently there was a problem with the clock, and they're getting that straightened out. Nothing worse than to have a great ball game like this and not have the clock work.
All right, we're ready to go. A couple of changes for the University of Florida. Frankie Neal is in. He is set as a split left end. On 2nd down, Bell pitches back to Neil Anderson. Cuts to his right. He's got a hole out to the 26-yard line. A gain of 8 yards for Neil Anderson, who cut sharply to his right as he hit the secondary, and then was hauled down there by Carlisle Hewitt. That'll bring up a 3rd down and about 4 yards to go for the first down. Ball just short of the 26-yard line. Neal comes out of the ball game. We'll check his replacement in just a moment. Probably Gary Roll. Gators settling back at their own 18-yard line as Vince Dooley looks on from the far sideline. Roll is wide to the left as a split left end. Teal is split to the right, and Odom is in motion to the right from his slot left. John Williams pulls forward, but he is stopped short of a first down around the 29.5-yard line by Henry Harris. Calvin Ruff also came up to make the stop, and the Bulldogs hold in their first defensive situation.
Yeah, you got to give Georgia a lot of credit. In this first series, they come right out there, and we heard the head knocking all the way up here in the press box. There was some tremendous hits on that last play, forcing Florida to punt.
Ray Criswell will do the kicking from his own 15-yard line, and here's the kick. A high wobbly boot. Jimmy Harrell is back at his own 30 and cut down at the 30-yard line. Again, the Gators showing tremendous punt coverage as they have all season long. No score on the exchange of possession. We'll be back with the Gators offensive unit in just a moment on the Gator Television Network. Well, we apparently have trouble with the clock on one end of the field and not the other. It is stuck at 14:55. Galen Hall with arms folded. The clock on the other end shows 13:37, so apparently that will be our official clock. Quick pass on it in the flat, and he is drilled immediately. Ricky Eastman came up and absolutely drilled the receiver, and he was stopped for a loss. There was Jimmy Hockaday that was nailed back at the 29-yard line.
Well, you want your defensive back to get their attention on the hit, and my goodness, did Ricky Eastman get the attention on that play. What a tremendous play by Ricky Eastman, the corner.
That's a look at the Georgia offensive alignment in the backfield and up front. And off going to the fullback, Tom Jackson crosses the 30, gets out to the 32-yard line. Arthur White, a freshman from Frostproof, Florida, made the stop.
One thing we need to mention is both of these teams are very tough against the run.
There's the Florida defensive alignment with Moten, Williams, Pennington. The nose guard is Tim Newton, Korf, Mitz, and Alonzo Johnson. In the secondary, Eastman, Williams, Sibbald, and Adrian White. It's 3rd down and 7 for the University of Georgia. Duke sends a man in motion to the left. The pitch back to Smith. And he is hit, and he is dropped at the 32-yard line. And the Gator defensive unit holds as Arthur White came up and made the stop. And both teams with sensational defensive work in the first two possessions by their opponent.
Well, this ball game is exciting, and both defenses are taking control. Arthur White, number 43, comes up to polish off the play. There's a number of battles that are going to happen during this war this afternoon. Georgia won the first battle on defense. Florida comes right back and wins their battle on defense.
Chip Andrews stands at his 17-yard line to deliver the punt for the University of Georgia, and he gets it dandy away. It's chased to the far side, takes a good Georgia bounce. Nateel fields it over the shoulder, comes forward to the 23-yard line, and down he goes there. Paul Messer made the stop on Nateel, and time is out here at the Gator Bowl. No score. We'll be back in a moment on the Gator Television Network. The man that has had so much success against the University of Florida, as well as everybody else he has played, leading his team against the Gators here this afternoon with a 7-1 win-loss record, a 4-0 mark in the SEC in what was to have been a rebuilding year. His counterpart, Galen Hall, who is unbeaten in the interim capacity as head coach of the Gators.
I don't think Georgia's ever had a rebuilding year. They just continue to win.
First down for the Gators on their own 23-yard line. Gary Roll is in motion to the long side of the field. The pitch goes to Hampton. Cuts to his left. He's out to the 30, and he is decked at the 30-yard line. Knox Culpepper, the outstanding inside linebacker from Atlanta, made the tackle. He is number one in team total tackles this season.
The second time this afternoon that you see the tailback, in this case Lorenzo Hampton, make the cutback. That's only possible if the offensive line is generating some movement up front.
Very good point, and that is what the Gators offensive line must do throughout the afternoon against this tough defensive unit brought here by Vince Dooley. There is a big gain by John L. Williams, and he picked up the first down out to the 38-yard line, perhaps the 37. Steve Boswell, a sophomore from Warner Robins, Georgia, made the stop.
You don't see it from this angle, but Crawford Kerr, the right tackle, makes a tremendous block, giving John L. some room up front. Look at the leg drive of that big, strong fullback.
It's a first down for the Gators, who have the ball on their own 36-yard line. Frankie Neal is flanked to the left, and Raymond McDonald to the right. Odom moves from right to left and sets himself as a tight end as Neal comes in motion to the long side. Bell, the throw for the first time this afternoon, delivers incomplete. A little bit low, intended for Raymond McDonald at the 45-yard line. It'll bring up second down and 10.
McDonald was open. Kerwin just wasn't able to get the ball to him. What we've seen right now is the Gators using a little bit more motion, moving the tight end around a little bit, bringing the wide receivers in motion, trying to create a little bit of self-doubt on that Georgia defense.
Gary Roll has checked back into the ball game. He wears number 86, replacing Walter Odom. He comes to the right as a slot. Frankie Neal is a split right end, and Raymond McDonald is split to the left. Ball in the middle of the football field as Bell goes back to throw. He's got Hampton. Good move, and he's all the way out to the 47-yard line. And it appears from here he may have the yardage for the first down. Steve Boswell and Knox Culpepper came up and made the stop, but it's first down yardage for the Gators.
Okay, you got to give Kerwin Bell a pat on the back. He just takes what they give him. The tailback sneaks out, finds a hole in the secondary. Kerwin delivers the ball. You don't ever want to get greedy. You take what the other guys will give you.
That's what Hampton has accomplished in the reception department. He picks up big yardage on this completion. Enough for a first down. The Gators have the ball at their own 48-yard line. Neal is wide to the left as a flanker. Bobby Raymond split to the right. Now Neal is in motion to the right. Bell turns, gives to Hampton. He's hung up right at the line of scrimmage as Knox Culpepper came up and nailed him right at the knees and dropped him. He may have picked up a yard on the play out to between the 48 and 9-yard line.
I think Knox Culpepper, number 48, has almost made every tackle out there this afternoon. Look at him fill that hole. He decides immediately that it's going to be a run, and he steps up to the line of scrimmage and drills the running back. Great play, Knox Culpepper.
He was second team All-SEC last year and a solid shot at being on the first team this season. Big second down play as Bell goes back. He's being rushed. He gets rid of it. It is incomplete. Hampton had a catchable ball at the 46-yard line, but could not hold on. Donald Chumley put big pressure on Kerwin Bell, but Kerwin kept his poise and got it to his man, but his man did not hold it.
Yeah, you see great pressure coming in from the right side. The defensive end sneaks underneath Crawford Kerr, the offensive tackle. Kerwin's forced to hurry up a little bit. Still a catchable ball.
Now it's 3rd down and 9 for the Gators. The ball at their own 48-yard line. Gators have converted 54% of their 3rd down plays throughout the 84 season, but they have 3rd and long this time.
He's checking off, I believe.
He's back to throw, has some time, now still looking, and finally unloads. It is caught by Hampton, 35, first down Gators. Steve Boswell made the hit on Lorenzo Hampton, who made a fine leaping catch at the 35, and it's a first down for Florida.
3 things happen. Great protection up front by the big guys. The second thing is the poise of the quarterback, and the third thing is the great hands of the tailback, Lorenzo Hampton, coming up with a big catch.
They gained 16, and Florida is in Georgia territory for the first time this afternoon. Gary Roll is flanked to the left. Nateel to the right. Odom in motion. John L. Williams goes up the middle, and down he goes at the 32-yard line. Again, it was Knox Culpepper to make the stop for the Bulldogs. Well, Vince Dooley, who throws accolades around with abandon, said that this is the best Florida team he has seen since the best team he has seen since 1976 Penn State football squad, which is quite a compliment. Well, today it is both Florida and Georgia country. An equal distribution of fans from both schools jamming into the Gator Bowl. Kerwin Bell sends Gary Roll in motion to the left. Pitches back to Neil Anderson through to the 26-yard line. The Gators must go to the 25 for the first down. They will be very close. Kenny Sims, a junior from Greenville, South Carolina, made the stop. Neil Smith comes out of the ball game.
Big block by the fullback, John L. Williams, on Steve Boswell, number 44. The inside linebacker was trying to fill the hole, and he was met in the pass by the fullback, giving Neil Anderson a little bit of running room.
It's 3rd down and about a yard to go for the first down. Odom is in motion to the left. The turn, John L. dives over, and from here it appears he got the first down yardage across the 25-yard line. The Gators had a short 1 yard to go, but they are calling time and apparently will measure. But from here it looked as though John L. made the necessary yardage. We'll see when they spot it. It is just short of the 25-yard line. We have a very sharp angle. We'll have to wait.
Donald Chumley, number 76, does a great job up front, as all the Bulldogs do, submarining under the Gator offensive line. Stopped the play well. Whether it prevented the first down or not remains to be seen.
It's a first down for the Gators by half the length of the football, and the Gator drive stays alive.
Well, we mentioned Georgia stopping the rush. They yield, on average, 123 yards per game. Very strong defense against the rush.
But conversely, it has been the rushing game that has been so strong for the Gators. They're averaging 258 yards a game on the ground. First down at the 25 in Bulldog territory. Second possession for Florida. Bell is checking off now. Hampton moving off to the left, setting as a wing. Bell goes back to throw. Has time, throws long. Touchdown, Gators! Lorenzo Hampton open in the end zone. Gators go up 6-0. Dropped one early in this drive, made a great catch the second time, and then caught the big touchdown pass.
Looked like the Gators checked off on the touchdown play. Kerwin Bell noticed a weakness in the secondary. Checked off, called the play at the line of scrimmage, a big touchdown for Florida.
The try for the point is up and through, and the Gators lead by a score of 7-0 on the 25-yard touchdown pass from Bell to Hampton. 7-0 Gators. We'll be back with a kickoff in a moment on the Gator Television Network. The Gators with a 7-0 lead as Kerwin Bell hit Lorenzo Hampton with a 25-yard touchdown scoring strike, capping an 11-play drive that covered 77 yards. And we'll give you another look at what was a checkoff play and resulted in pay dirt.
Initially, there seems to be some confusion on offense by the Gators. Lorenzo moves over to position himself for the new play, splits the secondary right behind Culpepper, the linebacker. Big touchdown.
That's the scoring drive. 11 plays, 77 yards. Gators lead 7-0. We cannot tell you how much time remains in the opening quarter. Neither clock is working here at the Gator Bowl. Perkins kicking off. Oh, he booms it deep. Lane is back, loses the ball, falls on it. It'll be brought out to the 20-yard line for the first down for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Now, Lorenzo Hampton has caught 3 passes this afternoon already. He entered this game with only 6 receptions. Tremendous job by the senior tailback.
He had just 1 touchdown to his credit through the air prior to this afternoon's game. Jim mentioned that he was 6 for 94 with a 15.7 per catch average. Well, this afternoon he is off to a running start. First down for the Georgia Bulldogs as David Duke operates the team at quarterback position. Turns, gives the ball to Tron Jackson, breaks free out to the 33-yard line. Jarvis Williams made the tackle. Andre Smith was the man, number 35 rather than 25.
Andre Smith is averaging 6.8 yards per carry, gets a lot of running room up front, gives some credit to that Georgia Bulldog offensive line.
It's a first down for the Bulldogs.
First down.
Cleveland Gary gets out to about the 37-yard line. Stopped there for the Bulldogs after a gain of about 3. We'll see. It's spotted at the 36.
We mentioned earlier, we'll see a lot of fresh backs in there for Georgia. Coach Dooley likes to alternate those young men in the backfield.
He keeps Gary at the tailback spot. Bumpwood Smith is the fullback. Whoa, big hit for a loss on Cleveland Gary by Ricky Eastman, who came up and just blasted him for a loss back around the 33 or 4-yard line. Well, they spotted at the 31.
A tremendous play by the cornerback. He picks up this option immediately. He's in the backfield, and watch that hit. Now, Georgia's going to notice that, and they're going to come back in a little bit and pop that pass out there on him. They want to keep that quarterback honest.
Loss back to the 31, where it's 3rd and 12. Dukes gives to Cleveland, and he is stacked up at the 35-yard line. Cleveland Gary, a freshman from Indiantown, Florida, hit by Alonzo Johnson and Mark Korf, and the Bulldogs will be forced to give up the football after picking up 1 first down.
A little surprising, Georgia not putting the ball in the air on that big 3rd down play.
Chip Andrews will go back to do the punting for the Bulldogs, and Ricky Natile stands at his 20-yard line. Andrews, one of the fine punters in the game, averages 46 per kick. Neal fighting the sun. Natile is back at his 11. There's 16. He's out to 25, 30. Cut to his left, out to the 40. Big return for Ricky Natile to the 41-yard line. Looked for a moment as he may break it all the way, but he got a big return, and Tony Mangrum hauled him down at the 41.
Ricky Natile has that rocket speed. Ricky the Rocket Natile, he's almost on his way right here. Georgia converges just in time to stop him, given the Gators great field position on about their own 41-yard line.
Now the Gators with a 7-0 lead. They scored the 2nd time they had the football, and now they have it in their possession for the 3rd time. Boy, everything is fouled up on the scoreboards around here. They show Florida leading 26-22 on one end, and it was a scoreless tie on the other end. The scoreboard clock is not working, so we will not be able to give you the time remaining of the period until such time that they get it corrected.
I guarantee you there's 72,000 folks sitting here keeping score, too. This is an important battle to all these alumni and friends of both these universities.
Well, it has not produced any surprises so far, I don't think.
Well, what you can do in terms of looking at Florida's performance, off to a great start on offense, off to a great start on defense, and the specialty team comes up with a big punt return. Florida's got it all together at this point. Georgia's playing well on defense except for that one drive. They must be a little bit concerned about their offense, though. They haven't been able to get anything going on offense other than just a few runs.
Well, as you can see, it has been quite an effort throughout the season for the Florida offense. They have a 77-yard drive to their credit already this afternoon, covering 11 plays. And when you can put that many plays together and produce a score, you know that you have done the job up front. Ready to go now. It's a first down for the Gators at their own 41-yard line. Roll is split to the right, and the Teal is flanked to the left. Bell sends Roll in motion. Bell pitches back to Neil Anderson, comes back to his right, gets out to the 45-yard line and turned around, but there's a flag down. And it looked as though Odom may have left his stance on the line of scrimmage a little bit too early. Two flags are down, one in the backfield and one at the line of scrimmage.
Probably the Gators had two men in motion at the same time, which is not possible. The tight end had not gotten set before the wide receiver went in motion.
Well, it is possible. It's just not legal. That's what it amounts to. It'll cost the Gators 5 yards. They've stepped off from the 41-yard line. Approximately 2 minutes left in the opening quarter. The Gators lead it by a score of 7-0.
Well, an illegal shift against the offensive team. 5 yards, first down.
As you can hear, illegal shift cost them 5 yards, and it'll be first down and 15. Anderson has had 3 consecutive games in which he has beaten the century mark. He has a total of 10 100-yard plus days during his career. First down at 15 for Florida. Odom set to the right. Neal, flanked to the right, is in motion to the left. Kerwin Bell pitches back to Neil Anderson, trying to get outside, and he gets up to about the 39-yard line. Another flag is down. Knox Culpepper made the tackle. There's a gain of about 4 for Anderson, but it may be called back. We shall see in a moment.
Well, this Knox Culpepper is playing a super ball game. He's just all over the field making tackles left and right. One thing we need to mention is that going into a ball game like this, you don't want to create a game plan that's so confusing that you get a lot of guys making mental errors. And we've seen a couple of instances where guys were a little bit confused on whether to go in motion or not. And I'm sure Galen Hall is going to tell them, hey, guys, settle down a little bit. There's Knox Culpepper making another tackle. The Gators are indicated for holding on the play.
And Georgia was guilty of being offside, so they're offsetting penalties. So the situation remains the same. Ball is at the 36-yard line. And it's 1st and 15 for Florida. Gators huddling back at the 30-yard line. They send a pair of receivers wide to the left, McDonald and Neal. Odom is the tight end on the right side. Donnell Williams at fullback, Neil Anderson the tailback. Donnell looking for some running room. Nice move, and he spins out to the 42-yard line. He found himself on a little one-on-one situation right at the line of scrimmage. Gave him a left and went to the right, and gained about 3 yards on the play to the 41.
Not only are the Florida running backs powerful, but they're quite nifty. And John L. picked up an extra 2 yards with his reverse right there.
It'll be 2nd down for the Gators. The ball back at the original line of scrimmage, the 41-yard line. Odom resets as the tight end on the left as Neal goes in motion to the right. Bell back to throw, has time, downfield, overthrown. It was intended for Raymond McDonald at the 45-yard line. Tony Flack was there with him, but the ball sailed long, and it'll bring up a 3rd down and 10.
Well, the Gators had the man-to-man coverage they were looking for. Tony Flack, number 8, is going to come up and jump on Ray McDonald. The ball's overthrown considerably, however, so no harm, no foul on the contact.
3rd down and 10 for the University of Florida as the Gators huddle back at the 33. Line of scrimmage is the 41. Well, apparently that is the end of the first period because they're switching ends. That is correct. We have no clock here working at the Gator Bowl. So it's 7-0. Gators lead the Bulldogs. We played one quarter. We'll be back with the second period in a moment on the Gator Television Network. It'll be third down and 10 yards to go at the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville when play resumes. The Gators leading by a score of 7-0.
They call this the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, and they do some serious partying in Jacksonville at this ball game. They didn't get a chance to party too long, though, with the noon kickoff.
Probably just as well. It'll be a little safer trip home tonight.
Be safer here in the stands, too, I guarantee you.
Last year was a late afternoon performance, and the folks really got into their activities in the early part of the day. There are the statistics so far, what we have observed in the first quarter. Gators with a big edge in the total offense.
Again, like last week, Florida jumping off to a early lead.
Third down and 10 yards to go. Bell back to throw. Has time now and loads. It is overthrown. Intended for McDonald at the 49-yard line. Kevin Harris was there with Raymond. The pass was too high, and the Gators will have to punt the ball away.
Good coverage by the secondary of the Bulldogs.
Criswell is in to do the punting, and Jimmy Harrell will do the receiving. There is Criswell. He stands at his 26-yard line. And there's Harrell standing on the Bulldog 15. The wind on the... Oh, little trick play. It's good for a pass reception, and it's a first down at the 45-yard line. Lindsey Smith. Oh, Galen Hall reached deep into the bag of tricks on the fake punt, and the Gators pick up a first down.
And deep into the guts, too, because that takes some guts to call that play. Roger Sybil, who wanted to be a quarterback on this team, was begging for the snap. Hits Lindsey Smith out in the flat. Oh, a tremendous pressure catch by Lindsey. Young man from Orlando. I saw him play in high school. He's quite an athlete.
Roger Sybil, who was one of the candidates for the quarterbacking position during spring drills and even early this fall.
He jumped 10 feet in the air when that pass was completed.
I'm telling you, first down for the Gators at the Bulldog 45-yard line. John L. Williams pulls his way down to about the 43-yard line. Boy, that play has to give the Gators a tremendous boost.
There's not one person in this stadium that was expecting that play. That's why it worked so well. What a tremendous call, and what a gutsy call.
Bill Mitchell made the stop on the ball carrier, and high overhead. It's a spectacular sight, the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville.
You know, Roger Sybil, the fifth-year senior, had that shot at the quarterback position, but it wasn't possible for him to play there. They moved him back to the secondary. He just wants to help wherever he can.
It's second down, about 7 yards to go for the Gators as Roll goes in motion to the right. Bell pitches back to Hampton, hemmed in, hurdles a man, and gets down to around the 41-yard line. Greg Waters made the stop. You know, there's one aspect of this game that we probably should have spoken of earlier, but really didn't develop. The kicking game for each of these teams. Outstanding punters, outstanding field goal kickers. It could be a big factor in the outcome of this one.
Absolutely. Kevin Cutler is one of the greatest field goal kickers ever to play college football. And Chip Andrews is a tremendous punter for the Georgia Bulldogs. And the Gators are equally proud of their great kicking game.
It's third down and 6 yards to go for the Gators. The ball just short of the Bulldog 40-yard line. Roll in motion to the left. Bell back to throw. It's deflected high into the air and falls harmlessly to the turf. Calvin Ruff was over and almost had a shot at an interception. It was deflected, I believe, by Don Chumley. And Kenny Sims put a little bit of pressure on Kerwin Bell.
Yeah, the guys up front for Georgia doing a great job pressuring Bell. This ball could have been picked off, a deflected pass. You never know where it's going to go. There's no one out in the flat. If a dog had gotten it, he'd still be running.
A high spiraling kick aimed for a coffin corner, but it is too long. I believe, wait a minute. Oh, the official is walking up the yard line, strapped to the 4 and stops, and that's where it is. A great punt, and there's a flagged up field at the 43-yard line. We'll see what this is. Boy, where that official started in drawing the angle on Criswell's punt, it looked as though it had crossed the goal line before it went out of bounds. Illegal procedure may be the call against the Gators. If so, that will nullify a sensational punt by Criswell, because you know the Bulldogs are going to ask them to kick it again.
Georgia would have really been in a hole there with the ball on their own 4-yard line. Maybe Criswell can do it again. As we mentioned, he's one of the best in the country at booming that football.
Well, he'll have a little more room to operate with. He kicked that one out on the 4-yard line. Between Criswell and Nardoni, it has been a sensational punting game that the Gators have presented throughout this season.
Against the offensive team. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Still 4th down, and Criswell will now be kicking from his 40-yard line. Harwell has a teammate back with him as the deep man at the 5-yard line. That is Tony Black. Parallel to the 5-yard line stripe. Good snap, and Criswell will try it again. This time it's out. Oh! No, Gators recover! What a tremendous hit. It was Patrick Miller downfield to nail him, and Massey jumped on the loose football. Gators have it at the 6-yard line.
Unbelievable turn of events. James Massey does some headhunting. Watch this collision.
Patrick Miller made the hit. He absolutely drilled him, and there's Massey diving on the ball at the 9.
Patrick Miller, with that tremendous speed for a linebacker, gets down and make the hit. I thought it was Massey making the hit. Massey gets the ball. Patrick Miller makes the big hit.
What a turn of events. The Gators, in the process of turning the ball over, were forced to punt again after Criswell kicked it out at the 4. They now have the ball on the Bulldog 8.5-yard line. And Kerwin Bell has asked for a timeout for the Gators. So time is called here at the Gator Bowl. The score is 7-0. Florida leads Georgia. We'll be back in a moment with more on the Gator Television Network. These stages, there's Patrick Miller, the man that delivered the blast that resulted in the turnover. Patrick Miller with a big hit, Massey with a big recovery, and the Gators with a big break. They'll have the ball 1st and goal on the 8.5-yard line.
What a turn of events. Here Georgia is excited that they're not going to be trapped on their own 4-yard line, so they want to make Florida punt the ball again. Then they come up with a turnover. Now Florida has the ball inside their 10. What a turn of events.
And again, it goes back to the special teams that have been developed by the University of Florida that has been so superb throughout the season.
Dwight Adams is the coach of those special teams.
1st and goal for the Gators at the 8.5-yard line. Roll is split to the right. Ricky Nattiel is flanked to the left. Odom is in motion to the left. Pitch going back to Neil Anderson. He's inside, down to about the 5-yard line. Well, we'll be picking our selection of the Mid-State Player of the Game in the 4th quarter. And Ray Criswell telling everybody how it's accomplished on the near sideline.
Said that was my fumble the ball punt. It's one of my specialties.
It worked to perfection. We spent hours on that kick.
And the sun here this afternoon played a big part on that play. That's tough for a kid to look into that sun, knowing people are closing in on him to catch that ball. The sun's a tremendous problem for the punt returners.
That time has been called by the University of Florida as Kerwin Bell comes to the near sideline. We saw Ricky Nattiel fighting that sun before the switch of ends in the opening quarter. He handled it. But it is something to be concerned with. You certainly don't want to cough up the football, but yet you have to be aware of the on-charging punt coverage team.
Right. During this timeout, let's talk about the confusion that's happening on the Gator offense. We mentioned earlier, you don't want to come into a game and be too cute and have guys make mental errors. You'll accept a physical error, a physical mistake. Those things happen, but mental errors cannot happen. And what's happened here, the Gators have called a number of timeouts because there's been some mental confusion about assignments, about personnel being in the game. And I know Galen Hall is going to say, hey, we need to get back and simplify things a little bit. There should be no reason for this confusion. Let's settle down, get the job done out there.
Well, they've utilized 2 of the 3 timeouts here in this first half. And we are unable to tell you how much time remains in the first half because the scoreboard clocks are not working here. But I would guess we probably have around 9 minutes left in the opening half. Gators lead at 7-0. When play resumes, it will be second down and goal from the 6-yard line. Natil and Roll come wide to the left, with Roll set as the slot. That's the long side of the field. Now Roll is in motion to the right. Handoff is fake. Bell back to throw, being rushed, and he gets rid of it. It is overthrown. Flag is thrown. It'll be pass interference, I believe. Odom was there. He was spun around as the ball arrived. Bill Mitchell put some pressure on Bell, but he got rid of it with a sidearm swing. The flag went down in the end zone, and it looks as though it'll be pass interference against the Bulldogs. If so, it'll be a first down at the 1-yard line for the Gators. Wow, you talk about being in big trouble and coming up smelling like the proverbial rose. The Gators just pulled that one off.
Perhaps. We're not sure if it was defensive pass interference. Kerwin Bell, how he did that play, I don't know. He looked like Fran Tarkenton on that play. He's going to slip out here to the left, trying to pick out his wide receiver. He's going to get a big rush by number 56, Mitchell. Now, in the NFL, they blow this play dead, but Kerwin has the thought process to throw the ball away, and lo and behold, there's his tight end who has a chance to catch the ball, Walter Odom.
I'd like to see that one put down on this diagram board.
That's from his Mayo playbook.
You'll never see that one diagrammed.
That's what made him a legend in Mayo.
First and goal. John L. is stacked up at the 2-yard line. It'll be second and goal. Those Bulldogs are tough down deep. Jeff Sanchez, who was not expected to play today, has been bothered for the last couple of weeks with a bruised groin, came up and made the stop on John L. Williams.
I tell you what, these Georgia Bulldogs know how to make a goal line stand. They've done it many, many times against the Florida Gators.
That'll be second down and goal again from the 2-yard line. Gators come out with a pair of tight ends. They have a power eye left. Bell turns, gives to Neil Anderson. Touchdown, Gators! Neil Anderson launched himself over the top of the 2 lines and fell in the end zone. It is 13-0 Gators.
The Dogs do a great job of jumping up on that line of scrimmage, but you can't stop this kind of talent. Look at the height that Neil Anderson gets on that leap. Jeff Sanchez tried to make the play. Herschel Walker had done that so many times to the Gators in the past.
Bobby Raymond attempting the point after, splits the uprights, and the Gators lead. It's 14-0. Florida leads Georgia. We'll be back with more from the Gator Bowl in just a moment on the Gator Television Network.
Mornings around here are like fire drills. Those are my 3 alarms. Currently, they are breaking the Olympic record for speed eating. And that's why I fill their plates with family favorite ham, sausage, and bacon from Likes. This is old-fashioned goodness, because today, my firemen need it more than ever. They may not be eating slower, but they're eating better.
Family favorites from Likes. Old-fashioned goodness is better.
There was a time when a do-it-yourselfer could lift a ton and knew every trick in the book.
Welcome to Scotty's. May I help you?
Yes.
But when you work 9 to 5, sometimes you need a hand. It's a good feeling to find everything you need in one place and people that can see you through a project from beginning to end.
There's a feeling of pride in doing it yourself and a feeling of confidence from Scotty's.
The helping hand that saves you money, Scotty's.
Approximately 9 minutes remain in the first half. The Gators putting their second touchdown up with a leap by Neil Anderson, who went diving through the air for 2 yards. Actually, more like 4 yards, 2 up and 2 across.
It was an amazing leap. Let's be realistic about this situation, though. It was a cheap turnover and a penalty. But you'll take 6 points anytime you get it. What's that, the 3-yard line he's leaving from? Now, you twist your body on purpose so you don't present a big physical presence to the defense so they can knock you back. He twisted his body on purpose to give them not too good of a shot at him. There he is.
Nice going, Neil. It is 14-0. About 9 minutes left in the opening half, and the Gators will be kicking off. A long end-over-end kick goes into the end zone, bounces once, and goes on out. It'll be brought out to the 20-yard line. Stanley Blaylock took a look at it as it sailed over his head. He was hoping it would clear the baseline on the fly, and the Bulldogs would get it at the 30, but it was about a yard short.
Larry, you just mentioned while we're on a break, remember LSU. Florida jumped off to a 14-zip lead against LSU Tigers, wound up tying the ball game. Many, many times Florida's jumped on Georgia early only to lose the ball game in the end. You never, never count out a Vince Dooley Georgia Bulldog team.
Bulldogs take the ball at their own 20-yard line. David Dukes runs the team from quarterback. He's back to throw on first down. He drills it to Smith, lost the ball! Big pile up. The Gators had it for a moment, but I believe that it's going to be ruled an incompleted forward pass.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't know about that. A little confusion on whether it was a reception and fumble or an incomplete pass. Third big gigantic hit by Ricky Eastman, number 8. Good call. Good call by the referee. Instant replay proves him correct.
They're always correct. Just ask him. No, that was a good call. It's 2nd down and 10. Ball at the 20-yard line.
He sure waited long enough to make his mind
up.
Yeah,
he was a little late in that, although he may have made the call and was not detected immediately. Right. Lane is in motion to the left. The handoff goes to Popewood Smith, goes straight up the middle of the 25-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and 5 for the Bulldogs. Smith doesn't give him much of a shot at a target. He's 5'10", 195. He is compact fire plug type. Alonzo Mitz making the tackle.
When you look at his average per game, average per carry, 6.8 yards for Popewood.
Pretty impressive. Dukes back to throw to the sideline, and Smith drops the ball at the 30-yard line. He had first down yardage, but he let it squirt away. Well, season and individual game tickets for the 1984-85 Gator basketball season are now on sale at the Gator ticket office. You won't want to miss a minute of the action this season. The Gators play an exhibition game on November 14th, then open the season against Central Florida on the 24th. Contact the Gator ticket office for more information.
To have that big season, to have that big victory, sometimes you need luck on your side, and that was a lucky break for the Gators. That Popewood Smith dropped the pass. No first down for Georgia.
Chip Andrews with a high hanging spiral. Fair catch called for, dropped by Sybil. Bulldogs recovered, I believe. Wycliffe Lovelace fell on the bouncing football, and the Bulldogs, who have not been able to move the ball this afternoon with bad field position, get a big break.
It only takes an instant to make a mistake when you're receiving that punt. Roger Sybil knows exactly what he wants to do, but just in the last instant, he mishandles the ball. Big turnover for Georgia. Come see, come side.
So now the Gator defensive unit will be called upon once again. Smith carries the ball for about 5, still shoving forward, and finally stopped inside the 35-yard line by Patrick Miller. You saw a perfect look at the replay from the end zone camera with Sybil going over for the fair catch. He saw a big hole in front of him, and you may have believed that he had taken his eye off the ball, regardless of the fact that he called for the fair catch. He may have been thinking about it a little bit. Oh, man, look at those yard line straps in front of me. But now the Gator defensive unit will be called upon to try it again. Dukes almost fell, back to throw, downfield it goes, incomplete. Closest man to it was Ricky Eastman.
Another big play by the cornerback, number 8, Ricky Eastman from Dunellen, Florida, leaping up to deflect the pass. Great field position for the Georgia Bulldogs. They haven't had this kind of field position all afternoon. They need to take advantage of this and get on the board.
Well, of course, they have Kevin Butler, their outstanding kicking ace, who has a 60-yarder to his credit this season. So the Bulldogs, if they don't score 6, are within field goal range. Lots of action at the line of scrimmage, and flags are down all over the field.
Looked like Patrick Miller was guessing on the snap count a little bit, possibly, and jumped across prematurely. We'll have to wait and see on the call.
We're in the mid stages of the second period. Here's another look, and there you see Mitz going a little bit prematurely.
Alonzo Mitz hadn't seen that much action.
Oh, they are calling him for being pulled offside. Illegal procedure is the call against the University of Georgia, and that'll cost the Bulldogs 5 yards.
Well, we didn't see any movement on Georgia's side on the replay, but possibly there was some in the backfield.
So the ball has been moved back to just inside the Gator 40-yard line, and it'll be 3rd down and 10. Gators lead it 14-0. Best field position of the day for the University of Georgia. Lane is a slot to the right. Dukes back to throw. Now decides to run the ball, reverses. He is hit and hauled down nicely by Patrick Miller at the 35-yard line. Patrick stayed at home. He said, come on, big fella, I'm waiting for you, and he got him.
I want to tell you what, you're not going to see a better play made than Patrick Miller just made in the open field all by himself. He was going to contain the quarterback, not let him outside, and he wound up making the tackle himself. A tremendous play by Patrick Miller.
However, there was a penalty flag down, and it looks as though the Gators will be penalized 5 yards for being offside. So back-to-back 5-yarders against each team. Moves the ball back to the 34-yard line, or down to the 34-yard line.
Defensive team offside at the snap.
That'll be 3rd down and 5 is where we all began about a minute and a half ago. Vince Dooley talking with his aides on the sideline. Bulldogs break the huddle, sending a couple of receivers wide to the right. Lane is set as a slot to the right. Lane is in motion to the left, stops, reverses. Dukes. And Gary gets down to around the 26-yard line. It'll be very close to a 1st down. May have picked up the necessary yardage for the 1st down for the Bulldogs.
A lot of movement up front by the Georgia offensive line. Cleveland Gary picking up the 1st down. Keith Williams made the tackle.
Spotted it at the 28-yard line. It's a 1st down for the University of Georgia. The Bulldogs moving the ball, following the turnover, have Lane in motion to the right. Dukes with a handoff to Smith that pushes forward to the 23-yard line. Arthur White, a freshman from Frostproof, came up to make the tackle. But the Bulldogs are starting to get their ground game going a little bit. Oh, it's a perfect afternoon for football in northern Florida. And this huge crowd has been witness to some spectacular events so far.
The Bulldogs are averaging 230 yards per game on the ground. The Gators are yielding 120. Big test for the Gator defense on this series.
Approximately 5 minutes remain to be played in the opening half at the Gator Bowl. Lane is in motion, then reverses, comes back to the long side. Smith finds a hole, and he is cut down as it filled very quickly. Fell around the 15-yard line. And it looked as though it was Ron Moten that got a hand on the foot and tripped him up as he crossed the line of scrimmage. That is not the correct time, but that is the score. Remaining in the 1st half, approximately 5 minutes left. The Gators trying to stop the Bulldogs, who have moved downfield following the fumble of the Georgia punt. A wing to the right. Dukes pitches back to Smith. Smith trying to get outside, cuts inside, and Miller wrestles him down at the 16-yard line. Mark Korf was also there. They will spot the ball at the 16-yard line.
Georgia's on a roll, picking up another 1st down. They like to get the ball to the tailback. Mark Korf comes over from his inside position to make the tackle on Andre Smith. All these backs for Georgia have had an impressive 2nd quarter.
Cassius Osborne is wide to the left. Lane from his slot in motion, then return. Pitch coming back to Gary. And Gary gets to the 15, maybe the 14. Mark Korf, a senior from Granada Hills, California, made the tackle. Ball is at the 15-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and about 8, I think it's 7.5 yards to go. approximately 3 minutes to go in the first half. Osborne split to the right, Lane in motion to the left. Whoa! And a back going straight up the middle. I believe it was Andre Smith that had, it looked like a little Canadian football for a moment as everybody was moving every direction. And Smith would have had a big gain, but he didn't have the ball, and it was still safely in the center's hands.
A little anticipation there. Looks like he thought he had an appointment and had a place to go, but big mistake.
Big 5-yard penalty.
F-ball foul, encroachment, offense.
Encroachment assessed against the offensive unit has moved the ball back 5 yards to the 20-yard line, where it'll be second down and about 13 yards to go. A long 13. Might be closer to 14.
And we have an official timeout. Well, we keep mentioning every Saturday how mental errors can come back to haunt you. Georgia's was in a great position there to move in for the score. The Gator defense was thinking, we're willing to give up the field goal at this point, but we're not going to give up a touchdown. And then Georgia turns right around and helps them out by penalizing themselves.
2:46, I believe we heard from the official, remaining in the first half. So there's plenty of time for the University of Georgia. Second down, and let's call it 13 and a half. Archie goes wide to the left. He hasn't played much this afternoon. And a slot to the left as Duke comes to the line of scrimmage. Dukes rolls to his left, looks, throws to the end zone, intercepted in the end zone. It was Jarvis Williams that picked it off for the Gators. Jarvis Williams with his second interception of the season, and the Gators will take over on their own 20.
You could almost sense the sprint pass was going to come because of the formation and because of Herman Archie out there on the left, Georgia's favorite receiver. 3 men in the secondary. Read the play from the beginning. Jarvis Williams making the big interception in the end zone.
It is 14-0. The Gators have the ball back. We'll be back in a moment on the Gator Television Network.
Mr. Wiles, why did you buy at Tire Kingdom?
Well, my wife and I had always bought our tires at Sears. We tried Tire Kingdom and found better prices, and the service was excellent.
Miss Green, why did you buy at Tire Kingdom?
I went to North for the advertised special. They were out of the advertised tires. So I came to Tire Kingdom. They had my tires and at a better price.
We became Florida's largest tire dealer because of 3 things. The lowest prices, great service, and the best selection in Florida. We sell quality tires for less than anybody.
Isn't that Bruce Hutchcraft over there?
Newswatch 8's Bruce Hutchcraft is back on the road with more Florida getaways.
You're going to love these trips. We're going to stop in a little town where Christmas never ends, make a stop at Sarasota's museum, sail away on Tampa Bay, and take a dip in the Fountain of Youth. That and a lot more.
Those were great, Bruce. Where to now?
Getaway with Bruce Hutchcraft, all this week at noon and 6 on Newswatch 8.
2 minutes and 20 seconds left to be played in the first half, and turnovers have played a very important role in this game.
Georgia turns the ball over on a fumbled punt. Florida gets a touchdown. Florida turns the ball over on a fumbled punt. Georgia comes up empty-handed.
Gators dodged a bullet on the pass interception by Jarvis Williams, and they have the ball on their own 20-yard line. Odom is in motion to the right. Kerwin Bell gives to John L. Struggles forward for about 5 yards. Out to near the 25-yard line. I'll stay with us during halftime. We have some very interesting features, an interesting interview with the Senior Associate Athletic Director, Richard Giannini, and we'll take a look at the statistics of the first half of play here at the Gator Bowl, and it has been a game of thrills so far. John L. Williams, 8 carries for 21 yards, somewhat below his average for the season. And Lorenzo Hampton is operating at tailback on second down and about 5. Now John L. breaks free, got the first down on his feet all the way to the 34-yard line. Jeff Sanchez came up and made the tackle on John L. Williams, but it's a big gain for the Gators. It's a first down at their own 34-yard line.
Anytime the guys in the secondary start making the tackle, you know you got problems up front. That's an unusual situation for Georgia, too, because they're so dominating at stopping the rush.
Well, the Gators would like to get another if time allows here in this final stages of the first half. Bell pitches back to Hampton. Hampton knifes through and spun down at the 39-yard line. Kirby Stewart made the tackle on Hampton at the 39-yard line in Gator territory.
This Jeff Sanchez, number 31, the strong safety for Georgia, is an all-conference performer. He's had some injury problems, and they're glad to have him out there this afternoon. Jeff Sanchez, number 31.
2nd down and 5 as Raymond McDonald comes to the left, and Frankie Neal goes wide to the right. That's the long side of the field. Odom in motion to the right. Bell turns, gives to John L., and there's nothing there. He gets out to the 40-yard line, and Steve Boswell, the inside linebacker from Warner Robins, Georgia, came up to make the tackle. There's David Dukes on the sideline. It's been kind of a frustrating first half for this young fella, including the intercepted pass in the end zone. That's his 4th pass that he's had picked off this season.
David Dukes' dad played for Vince Dooley when Vince first came to Georgia back in 1964, so you know there's a lot of red and black blood in that family.
3rd down, about 4 yards to go. The ball at the 40-yard line. Whistle sounds, and that may be the end of the half. We'll see. It is. As we stated earlier and have been stating, the clocks are not working here at the Gator Bowl, so the first half comes to a close, and the Gators have a 14-0 lead over the University of Georgia after 2 periods of play. Now stay with us at halftime. We'll be back with special features to look at the statistics and other information coming up on the Gator Television Network.
Everyone thinks that Barnaby Jones takes all the risks. Well, listen, I have my share, too. Oh, sure, Barnaby encounters lots of danger, excitement, and shocking experiences, but I do a lot of legwork, too. Listen, it's not easy being the power behind the throne. I mean, you've got to take your knocks and come up smiling. Just remember that behind every great male detective, there's an even greater woman.
Barnaby Jones, weekdays at 4 on WXFL, Channel 8.
On the next taxi, when Louie's mom moves out, he starts bragging he'll turn into a swinging bachelor.
I'm having a lavish party.
But everyone knows it's only a cover-up and plays along with the new Louie.
I'm talking about wild.
Until the party turns into a flop and they go all out to help him patch things up.
You'll all excuse me. I'm going to get my mommy.
On Taxi.
Watch it Monday at 5:30 on WXFL, Channel 8.
The 1984-85 college basketball season is upon us, and Gator basketball is hot stuff. Coach Norm Sloan's squad heads into action with a talented cast led by senior Eugene McDowell and last year's SEC Freshman of the Year, Andrew Moten. It's an exciting home schedule at the O'Connell Center that includes Kentucky, LSU, and Florida State. So get your season tickets now. Just come by the Gator ticket office or call this toll-free number. Gator basketball, it's hot stuff.
Hot stuff.
Florida football highlights featuring the best plays from this week's Fightin' Gator football game. Don't miss any of the action with host David Steele, along with comments from Coach Galen Hall and player interviews. Florida football highlights.
Gator Football is a presentation of the University Athletic Association and WCJB Sports.
This is Jennifer. She's missing. If you've seen her, please call 681-HELP.
It doesn't matter how hard you work. Without farmers, you couldn't bring home the bacon or the eggs or anything. But since the American farmer is willing to invest his lifetime with no guarantee of success, you're free to pursue your dreams and goals. So chances are, if you don't appreciate farmers, you just haven't tried doing without them.
The final basket. Match point. The last lap.
Right now, your body's thirsty for more than water. It needs Thirst Aid. Gatorade.
Gatorade is Thirst Aid for that deep down body thirst.
When you exercise, you lose more than water. You lose potassium, minerals, fluids. Gatorade puts it all back fast. It's no ordinary thirst quencher. It's Thirst Aid.
Gatorade is Thirst Aid for that deep down body thirst.
Standing out in a crowd has always been a matter of taste. Jillian's Red Ale. Reach for the red instead.
You feel helpless. You have no control over the cost of your business's group health insurance, the rising cost, unless you reduce benefits or change insurance, and that's no permanent answer. So all of us at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Florida are working to change that. We don't have all the answers, but we're starting programs that will put you back in control and give you more reasonable health care alternatives. We do hear you, and we're working on the answers.
The crew of the space shuttle has every benefit modern travel affords, with one possible exception. They don't have a frequent traveler bonus program like Eastern's. If they did, this crew would have earned 178 free trips to London, 52 to Rome, 30 to Egypt, and 2 to Walt Disney World. So if you fly a lot on business, join Eastern's frequent traveler bonus program and land in the most exciting places.
Everybody looking at our size, and you know they saying we're about the best offensive line that ever been here. So it's it's going to be pressure on us.
But Gator offensive tackle number 75, Lomas Brown, is used to pressure. The 6'5", 280-pound senior from Miami is one of the nation's best at his position.
It's more mental than physical because you could just look at who you playing in front of, and it's different techniques that he line up in. And by those techniques, you'll know whether he coming inside or outside. And that'll help you still, just being out there just trying to destroy him, and he go inside and you step outside. So, mentally, it's demanding mentally. It just get rough at times. It get hurt, but it's, I guess that's why they bulk us up. When I work on my explosion, trying to get another player off the ball, I think that's really important for the offensive lineman to have good explosion.
Lomas is majoring in recreation, which he wants to apply in the corporate world.
This dealing with the concept of, designing programs for big industries and stuff in the recreation field. The big corporations that get a lot of their workers into, shape and stuff, reducing heart attack and all that. So, it's challenging and it's growing. I don't want to have to ever struggle. I want to be able to just live, live my life out, have fun while I live. I want to be in a job where I'm dreading getting up, 8 o'clock in the morning, going to work. I want to be something like where it's a challenge. And, come on to a family, just, be a mild-mannered dude. I'm going to remember, the fans, and I remember the faculty, because it's like, this is like one of the, top-notch, academic schools and everything. And I think, it's like individualized where you can get help. It's not just put you in the classroom and you just sitting in a classroom. You got professors that really care and stuff. And, I'm just, that's going to be something I'm going to remember. It's a lot of people that, I think would want to be a Gator. And, I got the chance to be one.
And now a University of Florida focus featuring the colleges that serve the businesses, the industries, and the people of Florida.
Information. What you need to know when you make a consumer purchase. Vote in an election. Get ready for a weather change. Decide what your children should watch on TV. In the world of information, the University of Florida College of Journalism and Communications is ahead of the times.
We really have a reputation of being the most advanced school technologically in the country, not just in the state. As a result, the newspapers, broadcasting stations are looking at our experiments, especially in cable newspaper work, video text. They're looking to see what we're doing to take back to their own papers. So, strangely enough, we are something like probably 5 years or more ahead of 90% of the media in the state.
Students from the University of Florida College of Journalism and Communications National Collegiate Writing Champions are the next generation of Florida's professionals in advertising and public relations, broadcasting and reporting. As laboratories, students operate 4 broadcasting stations, 3 radio, 1 TV.
We've done a survey and we've found that 68% of all of our graduates take their first job in the state of Florida. This is unusual because at a lot of schools, especially outstanding journalism schools, the students leave and go some other place to work. And so the resource is not only nurtured here, but goes back into the various areas of the state.
The University of Florida College of Journalism and Communications, from protecting your right to know, to shaping the news of the future, to broadcasting Gator football.
This is WRUF Gainesville, the flagship station for Gator sports.
In the world of information, a statewide resource.
We'll be back after these words from your local station.
Back in Alligator Ferguson's day, when you wanted something done, you got together and got it done. That's the spirit that built a railroad and raised a roof, spanned a river, launched an army, and made pirates out of everyone. That's the legacy that lives today on Newswatch 8, the spirit of Tampa Bay, working wonders now, just as it did then. Getting things done that ought to be done, together.
Tampa Bay, you've given everything you've got to give, with a special kind of way you feel. There's a magic in the air, and it's there no matter where you go. Tampa Bay.
You don't have to look far. It's all right here, working and watching out for you.
The spirit of Tampa Bay.
485 college basketball season is upon us, and Gator basketball is hot stuff. Coach Norm Sloan's squad heads into action with a talented cast led by senior Eugene McDowell and last year's SEC Freshman of the Year, Andrew Moten. It's an exciting home schedule at the O'Connell Center that includes Kentucky, LSU, and Florida State. So get your season tickets now. Just come by the Gator ticket office or call this toll-free number. Gator basketball, it's hot stuff.
Hot stuff.
Florida football highlights featuring the best plays from this week's Fightin' Gator football game. Don't miss any of the action with host David Steele, along with comments from Coach Galen Hall and player interviews. Florida football highlights.
Pleased to have as our halftime guest Richard Giannini, who is the Senior Associate Athletic Director at the University of Florida. Richard, very deeply involved in the tape delay football program, and from what I've been able to understand, it's gone very well.
Yeah, we're very pleased with it, Larry. As you know, we cover the state of Florida basically with a tape delay, and we also have some cities outside the state of Florida that are carrying it. And I think we're one of the few universities in the country that tape delay all 11-hour football games. And next year, we hope to expand it, take it to New York, take it to Chicago, take it to St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, really try to get great exposure for the University of Florida.
Well, it's a tremendous tool to take the University of Florida and its football program to alumni around the country. It also has to be a great tool for Galen Hall and his team to get in the recruiting area.
Yes, it really is. You know, we've got great fans throughout the country, all over the state of Florida, and many times they don't have the opportunity to come to Gainesville the games, and this gives them the chance to see it. And also the fans that do come to the games. It's an exciting game. When you're sitting in the stadium, you don't get a chance to see a replay. So I think the combination of doing a full game tape delay along with our coaches show has worked very well for us.
Sometimes I think, and often overlooked, are the sponsors that are involved in helping put a program together like this, and you've had some great support.
We really have. It's just tremendous, and even with the adversity that we've had this year, we've been in contact with, we have basically 15, 20 sponsors that are involved in the television, and every one of them say that they'll be with us next year, and they're just proud to be a part of Florida football. And I mean, that's really heartwarming. These people know the kind of program that we have. They know that we've got a great program, that will continue to be great, and that they continue to want to be a part of that. And that's very pleasing to all of us.
Well, it's hard to predict the future, of course, but the Supreme Court decision really threw things into a bit of a turmoil when it comes to college football and television.
Yes, it did. Coming so late in the year, it wasn't until the end of June that they made their decision. Really made a lot of people change plans, and we had to do some adjustments, and we're not sure next year what will happen. The CFA package with ABC, ESPN was a one-year deal. The SEC package with Ted Turner was a one-year deal. So everybody will be coming in December. They'll be out negotiating new deals, and so we'll have to figure out all over again what we'll be able to do. But I think that it's given us an opportunity to be on TV more. This year we'll be on 6 times, either Turner, ESPN, or ABC, and that's the most that we've ever had.
So it's been an exciting year, Richard, and on behalf of Jim Yarbrough and everybody at TV 20 and everybody involved, we appreciate your cooperation, everybody at the university, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, we really enjoy y'all, Larry and Jim, and appreciate the work that you've done along with Channel 20. We're a great team, and we're going to keep it going.
Great, we hope so. Thank you very much, Richard, and good luck to you. We'll be back with more from the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville after we pause for these messages from our local stations.
Promise of freedom.
Here's a toast to the host of those who love the vastness of the sky. To a friend we send a message of his brother men who fly.
The Air Force offers young men and women a chance to help keep our country's promise of freedom. As an Air Force technician learning and working at the leading edge of today's technology, or an Air Force engineer designing tomorrow's, you can help keep the promise of freedom. Aim high. Air Force.
Flying men guarding the nation's border. We'll be there, followed by more. The echelon we carry on. Nothing will stop the U.S. Air Force.
Tampa Museum, where art doesn't hang, it happens.
Tampa Bay's clearest, most complete election coverage. That's what you saw on Newswatch 8.
Watch us.
Exclusive computerized returns brought you the results fast.
Watch us.
The Bay Area's largest news team came out ahead with more live reports, more of your opinions, more of what counts in the vote count, and more about what it all means to you and your family.
Watch us.
Decision 84. You saw it first. You saw it best on Newswatch 8. News watching out for you.
Back at the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville. The Gators leading the Bulldogs 14-0 as we near the conclusion of the halftime performance by the University of Florida Marching Band. And as we take a look at the statistics, you see that the Gators again have presented a very balanced offensive attack.
And Georgia's got problems passing the ball, obviously, in this ball game. They only average 108 yards per game, but, you know, they're not too excited about -2 net yards passing. Florida, on the other hand, had one big drive, the pass to Lorenzo Hampton, then get the big turnover to get another 6 points. Georgia was able to pick up a turnover, but weren't able to put points on the board.
Now the pass interception by Jarvis Williams in the end zone spelled the end of what really was the only threat of the first half by the Florida offensive unit, and that came as a result of the fumbled punt by Roger Sibbald.
Yeah, we're going to be surprised if we don't see much offense in this second half. Florida comes into this game averaging a lot of yards on the ground, 158 yards via the pass. We expect to see some more points on the board in the second half, and I'd be surprised if the defenses continue to dominate.
Well, the track record, particularly for the Gators, has been that the second half has been extremely strong because basically of that big offensive line. Well, we'll be back with more from the Gator Bowl in just a moment. Stay with us on the Gator Television Network.
It makes you angry. Your health insurance goes up when you don't even use it. Then you get nothing but excuses from your insurance company, right? I don't blame you for being mad. It makes me mad. But we're working to make things different at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Florida. We don't have all the answers. But now we do have some answers that'll hit rising health care and insurance bills before they hit you. We hear you. And we're working on the answers.
There was a time when a do-it-yourselfer could lift a ton and knew every trick in the book.
Welcome to Scotty's. May I help you? Yes.
But when you work 9 to 5, sometimes you need a hand. It's a good feeling to find everything you need in one place and people that can see you through a project from beginning to end.
There's a feeling of pride in doing it yourself and a feeling of confidence from Scotty's.
The helping hand that saves you money, Scotty's.
Standing out in a crowd has always been a matter of taste. Jillian's Red Ale. Reach for the red instead.
Everyone thinks that Barnaby Jones takes all the risks. Well, listen, I have my share, too. Oh, sure, Barnaby encounters lots of danger, excitement, and shocking experiences, but I do a lot of legwork, too. Listen, it's not easy being the power behind the throne. I mean, you've got to take your knocks and come up smiling. Just remember that behind every great male detective, there's an even greater woman.
Barnaby Jones, weekdays at 4 on WXFL, Channel 8.
Isn't that Bruce Hutchcraft over there?
Newswatch 8's Bruce Hutchcraft is back on the road with more Florida getaways.
You're going to love these trips. We're going to stop in a little town where Christmas never ends, make a stop at Sarasota's museum, sail away on Tampa Bay, and take a dip in the Fountain of Youth. That and a lot more.
Those were great, Bruce. Where to now?
Getaway with Bruce Hutchcraft, all this week at noon and 6 on Newswatch 8.
Larry Osterman and Jim Yarborough from the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, where the University of Florida leads the University of Georgia 14-0. Well, there are signs all over the place, obviously, and all kinds of banners and all kinds of attire that people are wearing to the old ballpark this afternoon. The one thing that everybody in this great stadium this afternoon realizes that the University of Georgia ain't dead yet. They have had, over the years, a tremendous tendency to come back and make ball games extremely tight and pull them off.
One of the reasons Vince Dooley is so well respected is because his teams come from behind, not occasionally, but consistently to win big ball games. And the Florida fans have seen it happen enough. They know they're not about to relax with a 14-0 lead.
The Gators will be kicking off to start the third quarter. Hopefully the clock will be operating in this second half. It was functioning during the halftime festivities, and it will give everybody a little bit better idea of what's going on. Now here's Perkins with his line drive kick, and it sails into the end zone, goes out of bounds on the near side. It's kind of an unusual kick that Perkins got away that time. It was going end for end, but horizontal with the turf rather than end over end as he usually kicks it.
Looked like a helicopter ball.
Yeah, it did. Well, David Dukes got his shot in the first half. Now it'll be Todd Williams to make the start for the University of Georgia in half number 2. He is a junior who has had a bad shoulder. He's missed the last 3 ball games. He is from Waycross, Georgia, 6 feet 173. He was the starter before being injured. David Dukes took over, and now it'll be Williams in half number 2. Herman Archie is split wide to the right on first down. The big tailback, Cleveland Gary, goes straight ahead out to about the 33-yard line. Keith Williams made the tackle. Cleveland Gary, one of several freshmen participating for the Bulldogs today.
Todd Williams entered today's ball game with 78 passing attempts, 40 completions for 410 yards. Georgia feels more comfortable, I believe, with him throwing the football.
A flag on the play, illegal use of the hands, is the preliminary indication against Georgia as Mark Korf tunes in. Takes a look at the sideline. I presume that the Gators will take the penalty. And will move the ball from the 30 back to the 20, where it'll be first down and 20.
First down. Now, you don't want to put yourself in a hole right off the bat, but here Georgia goes in reverse.
First and 20 for the Bulldogs. Archie goes wide to the left. Slot to the left is Hockaday. Smith is the fullback, and Gary's the tailback. Gary gets the call, spins, and gets about 5 yards down to near the 25-yard line. Keith Williams made the tackle on him there. That'll be second down and 15 yards to go for the Bulldogs, who trail 14-0.
Both these teams are accustomed to averaging 5 and 6 yards per carry. At the end of the first half, both teams are around that 3-yard per carry mark.
Now the leading individual rusher was John L. Williams. He carried the ball 11 times for 36 yards. He has a 5.8 per carry average starting today's game. On second down, Williams rolls to his right, looks, he's throwing long. It is intended for Lane, and it's broken up beautifully by Ricky Eastman.
Ricky Eastman keeps coming up with one big play after another. He read that play from the beginning, saw the receiver turn upfield on him, was step for step, was able to knock the pass away.
Todd Williams is taking a look at a 3rd and 15 situation, ball just short of the 25-yard line in Bulldog territory. He sends Archie to the left, and Hockaday is a slot to the left. Williams rolls to the left, looks to throw, dumps it off to Smith at the 30, and he is hauled down at the 34-yard line by Tim Newton, and the Bulldogs will be forced to turn over the football as the Gators take advantage of the penalty, play some sound defensive football, and Tim Newton made the catch of the receiver at the 35. It'll be 4th and 5.
Well, we keep saying how important that first series is at the beginning of each half, and here the Gator defense comes out and rises to the occasion.
That's Chip Andrews. He averages 46 yards per punt for the season, 44 in the first half on 3 kicks. He gets a high wobbly kick off. Bad boot, goes out of bounds at the 42-yard line. And Andrews, who has been so sensational, shanks one. And the Gators have great field position, leading 14-0. We'll be back in just a moment on the Gator Television Network.
What does this real seal say to you? Of course, it means that you are getting real dairy foods, never imitations. You have the assurance of the American Dairy Association. But most of all, the real seal tells you that real cheese, cream, and butter come from a place like this, fresh and natural. So always check the ingredients or look for the real seal, because who knows where the imitations come from. You know it's real when you see the real seal.
Any banker can make a loan that's right out of the book. But when the terms are creative, the collateral different, the conditions unusual, you need an Atlantic banker with local lending authority, the resources to solve problems, and the willingness to undertake them. Come to Atlantic Bank and get away from banking by the book.
13:22 left in the 3rd quarter.
Alonzo Johnson.
He said this one's for you.
I hope he's right.
I hope so. 14-0 the score. Gators have the football at the 42-yard line following the bad punt by Chip Andrews, who doesn't miss many. It comes down to special teams so many times, and the Gators have been virtually flawless in that department today. Well, the winning attitude starts with individual performance combined with a strong team morale. Mid-State Federal Savings and Loan admires this spirit and is proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the Most Valuable Player of the Game Award, which will be announced at the conclusion of today's game. Mid-State Federal, Florida's full-service financial center. First 1st and 10 for the Gators. Pitch back to Neil Anderson. Struggles and gets all the way out to the 47-yard line. He was hit by Carlisle Hewitt and knocked him off balance, kept staggering forward, and picked up some big yardage. Anderson, the 3rd leading career rusher. He has had a big season this year with 3 games in a row over 100 yards in rushing. But in the first half, he was limited to just 17 on 4 carries. 2nd down and 5 for Florida. Odom is in motion to the right. Bell, quick throwback to the near side. Oh, the ball was dropped. Incompleted forward pass. It was intended for Natil, and he didn't hang on. That'll bring up 3rd down and 5.
He'd have been long gone, too. Big Lomas Brown is out there making the block. A little misdirection. Quick release to the wide receiver. Ricky wants to run before he finds the handle. No one's out there but Lomas Brown and the cornerback, and Lomas knocks the cornerback away. Ricky had the speed to outrun the linebackers. Incompletion.
So it's 3rd and 5. Bell back to throw. He's looking down the middle. Anderson at the 45, and he is spun down at the 47-yard line. He had 1st down yardage initially, but as he tried to retreat a bit to gain a little bit of outside leverage, actually lost a couple of yards following the reception at the 47. We'll see whether it's enough for a 1st down. It appears to be short. Whoop, it is going to be a 1st down. Here's another look.
Good protection up front. Anderson for a minute tries to break loose, but he still picks up the 1st down. We thought perhaps he was down short of the 1st down marker, but he did make it.
He did make it, not by much, but enough, and that's what counts. Pitch coming back to Anderson. Oh, he handled the ball right down around his knees and had a little sticking on his knees that time. He got to the 44-yard line in Bulldog territory, but it was a little dangerous there for just a moment.
Great field position for the Gators.
It'll be 2nd down and 7 yards to go. Bulldog defensive unit huddling. Breaks as the Gators come to the line of scrimmage. Roll. There's a split to the left. A slot to the left is Odom. And Natil is flanked to the right. John L. Williams struggles down to about the 43-yard line. Donald Chumley, a senior from Savannah, Georgia, made the tackle.
I tell you, these guys up front for Georgia, Donald Chumley, number 76, and Henry Harris, the middle guard, number 52, are doing some slugging and fighting up front. Those guys are not being blocked very easily.
The Gators converted 2 of 6 3rd down situations in the first half. They have converted 1 here in the second and are faced with another. This time it's 3rd and 5. Bell back to throw to the side. It's caught by Roll. He's out of bounds at the 36-yard line. It's a 1st down for the Gators. Andre Holmes was there, but Gary Roll made a great catch on the far sideline, and the Gators keep it going.
We talked earlier this season about the intelligence of Gary Roll. He knows exactly where he has to go to pick up the 1st down. He eyeballed the hash mark or the yard marker. He knew where he had to go before he made his break to the sideline. Big 1st down, great play, Gary Roll.
All at the Bulldog 36-yard line. All the hash mark on the far side. Raymond McDonald is flanked to that side. Pitch coming back to Neil Anderson. He lost his footing as he tried to cut back as he approached the line of scrimmage and was decked right there. Kenny Simmons making the tackle, may have picked up a half yard. Nose of the football just short of the 35-yard line.
I tell you, number 52, Henry Harris, the nose guard for the Georgia Bulldogs, is creating havoc on that line of scrimmage. Take a minute and watch that nose guard, number 52, Henry Harris. He's penetrating the line of scrimmage on every play.
And he's just a sophomore. He is from Decatur, Georgia. Gary Roll is flanked to the left. Raymond McDonald to the right. Odom is in motion to the left. Pitch coming back to John L. Williams. He's going to throw. He lobs one downfield. Incomplete. It was intended for a roll, but out of bounds at the 11-yard line. John Little was right there with him. Well, John L. threw a shot put into the air, one of those prayer jobs, and it came out of bounds and fell harmlessly.
That's one of the kind you usually see on Sorority Row, I think. John L's going to have some explaining to do to his teammates when that's rerun in the films next week.
Brett Wickman has come into the ball game to replace Walter Odom. And Wickman will set as a slot to the right. On 3rd down and 9. This is the third down situation in this drive for the Gators. They converted the first 2. Bell back to throw to the side. Great catch at the 26-yard line. It was Wickman that made the catch, and I believe he may be at first down yardage. Very close, perhaps a couple of inches short. Jeff Sanchez was there, but what a catch by Wickman.
That's right. Wickman doesn't see a lot of action with the Gators. He's the 5th receiver, but he comes up with a big catch. Number 20, Brett Wickman. What happened on that play? We had a blitz. The Gator backs picked up the blitz, allowed Kerwin Bell an opportunity to throw the ball. It looks like perhaps it might be a first down.
No, it's just inches short. And I'm talking inches here. So it'll be 4th down and inches for the first down at the 26-yard line, and the Gators are going to go for it. Well, they're stacking everybody up, are the Bulldogs. Neal is split wide to the left. The handoff to John L. Bulls got the first down inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. Carlisle Hewitt hit him but couldn't hold him, and John L. Williams squirmed to the 24-yard line.
You don't see the fullback or the first back through carrying the ball that often on a short yardage situation. Generally, the ball is delivered to the tailback, the fullback making the block. There, John L. Williams was given the ball, caught Georgia a little bit by surprise, I believe.
That is an excellent point and an excellent call. 1st and 10 for the Gators at the Bulldog 24. John L. Williams sticks his head down, drives to the 21, then shoved back by 3 Georgia players, led by Knox Culpepper and Calvin Ruff, with Steve Boswell, the inside linebacker on the left side, also there. Crawford Kerr comes back in to operate at left tackle position offensively for the Gators.
Big Scott Trimble's coming out. Larry Scott had been injured the last few weeks with some knee surgery. It's nice to see him back in action. That's a pretty hit.
2nd down. 6 yards to go for the Gators, just short of the Bulldog 20-yard line. Bell fakes the handoff, back to throw. He's hit and dropped for a loss back at the 26-yard line. He got blindsided by Knox Culpepper, who came roaring up from behind and dropped him back to the 26-yard line.
I tell you what, Knox Culpepper is playing an incredible ball game. He's in the Gator backfield very rapidly. Kerwin doesn't even see him. He's lucky he held on to the ball.
Indeed, he was.
One thing we haven't seen this afternoon that has been typical of the Gator offense is the draw and the screen. We have yet to see any of that.
Well, it's 3rd and 11. You never know what might happen here. They have the ball almost in the middle of the football field. At the 20, just short of the 25.
Blitz.
Bell throws to the side. Nice catch over at the 18-yard line by Gary Roll. It was Jeff Sanchez there with him, but he's short of a first down by about 4 yards.
Georgia wanted to put the pressure on so Kerwin wouldn't have the time to pick a receiver out beyond the first down marker. They were willing to give up that play. Good defense by Georgia. Big field goal coming up by the Gators.
Bobby Raymond, who during his career has hit 33 of 39. He has the best percentage in Southeastern Conference history. Will attempt a 35-yarder. Ball is down. The kick is up. It's long enough. It is good. And the Gators tack on 3 more with 7:27 left in the 3rd quarter. It's Florida 17. The Bulldogs nothing. We'll be back with a kickoff from Owen and the Gator Television Network.
On the next taxi, when Louie's mom moves out, he starts bragging he'll turn into a swinging bachelor. But everyone knows it's only a cover-up and plays along with the new Louie.
I'm talking about wild.
Until the party turns into a flop and they go all out to help him patch things up.
You'll all excuse me. I'm going to get my mommy.
On Taxi.
Watch it Monday at 5:30 on WXFL, Channel 8.
Tampa Bay's clearest, most complete election coverage. That's what you saw on Newswatch 8.
Watch us.
Exclusive computerized returns brought you the results fast.
Watch us.
The Bay Area's largest news team came out ahead with more live reports, more of your opinions, more of what counts in the vote count, and more about what it all means to you and your family.
Watch us.
Decision 84. You saw it first. You saw it best on Newswatch 8. News watching out for you.
Great defensive efforts on the part of the Gators, an opportunistic offensive play, 17-0 Gators lead. And speaking of defense, Jim, certainly Ricky Eastman has to be among those in the running for the Mid-State Federal Player of the Game on his performance. The high end-over-end kick, Lane lets it go. It is picked up by Blaylock. He's out to the 20, springs free, and cut down on a nice diving tackle at the 22-yard line. It was Brett Wickman that came up and grabbed him at the knees.
Wickman's excited. He got to catch that pass earlier. He doesn't see the ball thrown to him that often. He's pumped up.
5 minutes and 55 seconds expired during the 14-play, 40-yard Gator drive with Bobby Raymond booting through a 34-yard fielder goal to make it 17-0. Now the Bulldogs have the ball on their own 22-yard line. Hockaday is flanked to the right. Williams gives to his tailback, Gary, and he goes no place. May have picked up a yard as Mark Thorpe and Alonzo Johnson, a couple of big, fast, hard-tackling guys, dropped him at the 24-yard line. A gain of about a yard. Let's call it second and maybe 8.5 yards to go as Vince Dooley stops on the sideline. 6:55 left in the third quarter. Williams rolls to the right, cocks the arm, releases. It is caught at the 30-yard line. I believe it was Smith that caught it, and he was driven out of bounds at the 30. It was Williams that made the catch. As he disappeared from sight in front of the Gator bench, Leon Pennington made the tackle. So now it is a third down and the 3 situation for the Bulldogs. They converted 2 of 5 in the opening half.
We just saw that sprint play. That sprint pass is Georgia's favorite weapon.
Williams rolling to the left, looks, throwing long, and it is incomplete. It was thrown wide on the far sideline. Intended for Hockaday. Jarvis Williams was there, and the Gators do it again as the Bulldogs are forced to punt. And a big ovation given the Gator defensive unit as it comes from the field.
Jimmy Hockaday tried to threaten Jarvis Williams to make him believe he was going deep. Then he cut to the sideline, but the pass was incomplete. It was just a little bit overthrown. Good coverage also by Jarvis Williams.
Chip Andrews will punt for the Bulldogs. He stands at his 15. Ricky Natile is on the Gator 27. Florida leads it 17-0. The snap, the punt, the high wobbly kick, fair catch called for by Natile. He has it at the 26-yard line, and that's where the Gators will start the play. It's 17-0 Florida, 6:32 left in the third quarter. We'll be back on the Gator Television Network.
Lately, everyone has been making a lot of noise about how they have the lowest prices on tires. Well, we at Tire Kingdom commissioned an independent study to find out the facts. This study, conducted over several months, is now complete. Guess what? Nobody sells tires for less than Tire Kingdom, no matter what they're shouting. You're a smart buyer. Do you want to buy noise or facts? We sell quality tires for less than everybody. And you know, I couldn't say that on TV if it weren't true.
Come bring the arts to life. The weekend before Thanksgiving, the Ringling Museums will host the 13th Annual Crafts Festival, the finest event of its kind. 150 booths representing craftsmen selected from 22 states, demonstrations by invited artists, refreshments, and live entertainment featuring Gove Scrivener, the Poindexter Band, Dave Goodman's Full Moon Review, and Saturday only, folk singer and humorist Mike Cross. Join us November 17th and 18th, Saturday and Sunday, on the grounds of the Ringling Museums in Sarasota.
Each week on Newswatch 8, Bill Ratliff shares the story of a young boy in need of a big brother, someone to help him over the rough spots of growing up without a dad, someone to look up to, maybe someone like you. See what it takes to be a Big Brother volunteer and meet some Bay Area youngsters who just might steal your heart. Watch Bill Ratliff's award-winning Best Friends reports only on Newswatch 8. News watching out for you.
times scores on scoreboards do not reflect what you witness on the field, but in this case, I think this is a pretty good description of what we've watched.
Absolutely. You see those goose eggs for the visitors. Hard to believe that the Gator defense kept a powerful Auburn squad without a touchdown, and here into the third quarter, the Georgia Bulldogs have yet to score on this Florida defense. Give some credit to those defensive coaches for the Florida Gators.
First down for the Gators on their own 27-yard line. Roll, who was flanked to the left, is in motion to the right. Kerwin Bell pitches back to Lorenzo Hampton. A little one-on-one. Picks up about 4 yards near the 29-yard line. Knocks Culpepper and Jeff Sanchez, the two talented seniors for the Georgia defensive unit, made the tackle from the linebacking and safety spots, respectively. Well, the big Gator looks tough out there this afternoon, doesn't he? Well, his counterparts wearing the orange and white have looked just about as tough defensively. 5 carries for Hampton. He has just 19 yards. Roll in motion to the long side of the field. Bell with a handoff to John L, and he gets to the 31, and that's it, as Culpepper made the tackle.
This Knox Culpepper is going to set a Georgia record for individual tackles, I believe, this afternoon. I don't believe I've seen a linebacker dominate a game from sideline to sideline. He's making play after play.
A year ago, he led the team with individual and assists with 166 tackles, and that's getting around the football field.
And he's a senior, and this is his last shot at Florida, and you know he wants this ball game.
Third down and 6 yards to go. Gators have failed to convert the third down only once, and now it'll be twice. As the big rush was on, Donald Chumley got to Kerwin Bell, and that's the first time that they have actually sacked Bell this afternoon. So the Bulldog defensive unit rises to the occasion.
Right in, Donald Chumley takes the inside on Crawford Kerr, escapes untouched, throws Kerwin Bell for a big loss.
Harrell stands at his 35-yard line. Good snap, and here's a high, beautiful, long, floating kick. Harrell takes at the 30, comes up to the 40, springs to the 44-yard line, and that's where Georgia will start it. A flag has been thrown, and we may get a penalty coming up here in just a moment. 2 flags are down on the field. Gators may be hit with a late hit here. We shall see in a moment. Clipping. Whoa! Clipping against the Georgia Bulldogs.
That's going to hurt the Bulldogs. Instead of being on their own 45-yard line, they're going to be back on around their own 30-yard line. Ray Criswell keeps booming that football. Ray's from the Jacksonville area. You know, he's excited about performing well here this afternoon.
That's the story. It'll be the 30 when we return to play here at the Gator Bowl.
Everyone thinks that Barnaby Jones takes all the risks. Well, listen, I have my share, too. Oh, sure, Barnaby encounters lots of danger, excitement, and shocking experiences, but I do a lot of legwork, too. Listen, it's not easy being the power behind the throne. I mean, you've got to take your knocks and come up smiling. Just remember that behind every great male detective, there's an even greater woman.
Barnaby Jones, weekdays at 4 on WXFL, Channel 8.
Isn't that Bruce Hutchcraft over there?
Newswatch 8's Bruce Hutchcraft is back on the road with more Florida getaways.
You're going to love these trips. We're going to stop in a little town where Christmas never ends, make a stop at Sarasota's museum, sail away on Tampa Bay, and take a dip in the Fountain of Youth. That and a lot more.
Those were great, Bruce. Where to now?
Getaway with Bruce Hutchcraft, all this week at noon and 6 on Newswatch 8.
It's first down at the 30-yard line for the Georgia Bulldogs, who had pretty good field position, but the clipping penalty cost them. And there's the man, Vince Dooley, who was Coach of the Year in 1980. He has won 168 football games during his career at the University of Georgia. He is by far the dean of the SEC coaches, and what a job he has done.
Georgia last week against Memphis State had problems generating some offense, had problems getting on the board. I think they wound up with 118 yards total offense.
Correct.
They're having all kind of problems this afternoon with this Gator defense. The Georgia defense is playing well.
4:37 left in the third quarter. Williams turns, gives to Smith. He's got a hole. He's out to the 45, 44-yard line before he was tackled by Ron Moten.
Now Vince Dooley's hoping to get a spark by sending Todd Williams in to play quarterback. Here he gives the ball to Andre Smith. This is probably his biggest gain of the afternoon. Breaks through the line of scrimmage into the secondary. Roger Sibbald comes up to make the tackle. There's Tim Newton pursuing down the field.
It's a first down for the Bulldogs. Man in motion to the right. The pitch coming back to Smith. Cuts to his left. He's at the 50 and at the 49-yard line in Gator territory where Adrian White hit him. This is the best series of back-to-back running plays that the Bulldogs have had this afternoon.
As we mentioned earlier, when the guys in the secondary start making the problems, you know start making the tackles, you know you're getting whipped up front. There's Adrian White, the strong safety, making the tackle.
A gain of 8 that time. It's second down and 2. Smith again, big hole, and he is across the 40 down to the 37-yard line. Keith Williams and Adrian White made the tackle, and the Bulldogs are fired up at the Gator Bowl. Another first down for Georgia. The Bulldog fans on the near side are standing. Another look.
What's happening is they're getting some movement up front. It allows that tailback to bend the ball back, find that running room, run for daylight.
Williams sends Lane in motion. McCluskey is in at fullback now as Williams rolls to throw, throws downfield. It is caught beautifully at the 19-yard line by Cassius Osborne. His first catch of the afternoon, and it's a first down for the Bulldogs. Roger Sibbald made the tackle on Osborne.
Todd Williams does a great job of laying the ball in there, a little bit wobbly, but right on the money for Cassius Osborne, a 17-yard completion.
This may be the deepest penetration of the afternoon for the Bulldogs. Williams turns, gives to his tailback. McCluskey is inside the 10-yard line. What a turnabout. Keith Williams and Mark Thorpe made the tackle, but the Bulldogs have completely changed personalities offensively, and they are blasting the Gators on the ground.
They're pumped up and excited, and they're dominating the line of scrimmage right now on this series.
It is first and goal at the 9-yard line. Williams dropped the ball, but he falls on it at the 10-yard line. Tim Newton was right there to jump on top. Flag is down on the field. And there may be a penalty coming up. We'll see. Illegal procedure against the Gator. Well, that's tough. And we also have a player down. I believe it's Pennington, who is down at the goal line. So half the distance. Penalty against Florida.
Dead ball foul, illegal procedure against the defense. It'll be first down.
Dead ball foul, illegal procedure. There's Tim Newton jumping across the line of scrimmage before the fumble. The exchange was weak between the quarterback and the center because Tim Newton had jumped across the line of scrimmage.
Leon Pennington being aided in the end zone by the Florida staff. See, he was hit from the backside, it looks like. And he's being helped off the field. Leon Pennington, a junior from Fort Lauderdale.
Now you got to give the Georgia Bulldogs credit. This has been a tremendous drive for them. They're down 17-0. They needed to create some excitement on their side of the field, and they've certainly done it with this offensive drive.
Well, it's been about a 70-yard drive if they complete it. It has lasted for 65 now, and they have first and goal just inside the 5-yard line. It's been the first spark shown offensively for the Bulldogs this afternoon. And again, the right side of the Gator line darts offside. This time it was Alonzo Johnson. So the Bulldogs have picked up some valuable yardage without the snap here in the late stages of the third quarter. It's 2:13 on the clock. And another half the distance penalty will be assessed against Florida for illegal procedure.
Well, the coach will never accept your excuse when you start guessing, and that's what Alonso's doing. He's guessing on the snap count. He needs to wait for that ball to be snapped. Anytime you guess, you're going to get yourself in serious trouble.
First and goal for the Bulldogs. Gators need a big goal line stand. Smith is stopped short at the 1-yard line. Coltwood Smith, who went roaring up the middle, stopped by Mark Corp. Arthur White. Clock running, 2:06 left in the third quarter, and the Bulldogs, with their deepest penetration, have it second down and go at the 1.
Your linebackers have to make the play on goal line short yardage. The linebackers have to meet those backs in the air.
This time it's the tailback dodging straight over. Lost the ball. There was Cleveland Gary. And let's see, it is, I believe, going to be the Georgia Bulldogs football. It is. Cleveland Gary tried to go over the top, but didn't make it with the pigskin. But the Bulldogs dodged the bullet, and he'll still have the ball.
Well, I don't understand where they marked the ball. He loses possession of it right here. Well, we weren't able to see. The ball was underneath all that humidity.
Third down and a yard to go. Again, big hit in the backfield.
Fumble.
Mangrum lost the ball, and the Gators with a big hit. Did they get the football? They certainly stopped the Georgia Bulldogs with a big blast by Alonzo Johnson, who blasted Tony Mangrum.
My goodness, what a hit. Alonzo beats the block of the tight end inside. I believe the ball did pop loose, but number 22, Mangrum, fell on the ball.
So now it is a 4th down and goal as the Gators have moved the back a ways to the 2-yard line. What a goal line stand this has been.
You never get beat on the inside when you're an offensive lineman, and the tight end got beat by Alonzo inside.
The pitch to Smith going to the right. He stopped short, and the Gators will take over. What a great goal line stand by the Florida Gators. Tells it all, doesn't it? What a drive by the Bulldogs, only to come up 1 yard short.
Well, you can't say enough about the courage of this defense on this goal line stand. There's Ricky Eastman making the play. Roger Sybil comes up to make the tackle. Ricky Eastman forced him inside. The rest of the defense pursues over to make the play. Watch Roger Sybil. He's going to make the tackle and get some help from his linebackers, Ron Moten and Mark Corp.
Kerwin Bell on the quarterback sneak, trying to get just a little bit of yardage so it can get a little more comfortable.
Again, one important thing we have to do is compliment Ricky Eastman, because he came up there and forced the play inside, knowing that his teammate Roger Sybil was there to make the tackle. Great play by Ricky Eastman.
That is the final play of the third quarter at the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville. The score is Florida 17, Georgia nothing. We'll be back with more from the Gator Bowl in a moment on the Gator Television Network.
The people here grew up in houses like these. They want their children to know something better, and they're willing to learn how. As volunteers with the United States Peace Corps, we're helping people learn the skills they need to build their own homes. Our little hard work and a lot of community effort can make a big difference in their lives.
I took my degree and put it to work in the Peace Corps.
The United States Peace Corps, the toughest job you'll ever love.
Well, late this quarter, Jim and I will be picking the Mid-State Federal Player of the Game. At the end of the season, a scholarship will be awarded to the university in honor of the Mid-State Federal Player of the Year. Well, it's quite a sight. This huge crowd, 82,349 on hand at the Gator Bowl. And they have seen just about everything you can hope to see in one football game.
Unbelievable how Georgia dominated the line of scrimmage on that entire series. What was it, 65 yards?
Approximately 65 yards.
65 yards. They get down near the goal line, and the Gators rise up with a tremendous goal line stand.
It'll be second down and 10 from the 1-yard line for Florida. Kerwin Bell has Gary Roll wide to the right. Hand off to John L. Williams. He dives forward, gets out to about the 3-yard line. A gain of a couple for the Florida fullback. Andy Loy makes the tackle. And now it'll be third down. Ball has been spotted just inside the 4-yard line. Ricky Nattiel has gone into the ball game. And it'll be third and a short 8 yards to go for the first down. Nattiel going wide to the left. Gary Roll is flanked to the right. Kerwin Bell, the freshman quarterback, under the center. Drops back to throw. Looks, he's throwing long. Nattiel is there. Nattiel's got it. He's going all the way for a touchdown for the Gators.
Oh, yes.
Holy Toledo. 97 yards unofficially. 6 yards officially. 23-0. Wowie.
My goodness, what a tremendous play. Ricky the Rocket Nattiel.
Bell laid it right there, too, and Nattiel was long gone. Raymond will attempt. That's the 13th touchdown pass of the season for Bell. The spot, the kick, and it is good. The Gators lead it 24-0. 14-12 left in the ball game. What a turnabout.
Kerwin, excuse me, Larry, in the replay. Kerwin Bell delivers the ball right on the money. Ricky Nattiel with a tremendous speed. He knows he can coast in from this point. He's just going to look back and enjoy it. And he's a sophomore. What a play by Ricky the Rocket Nattiel. Now he's going to get attacked by all his teammates.
Here's our man. 14-12 left to be played in this ball game. It's 24-0. We'll be back for the kickoff in a moment on the Gator Television Network.
Mornings around here are like fire drills. Those are my 3 alarms. Currently, they are breaking the Olympic record for speed eating. And that's why I fill their plates with family favorite ham, sausage, and bacon from Likes. This is old-fashioned goodness, because today, my firemen need it more than ever. And they may not be eating slower, but they're eating better.
Family favorites from Likes. Old-fashioned goodness is better.
Soldier, we know you, courageous and brave. The country you honored, the flag that you waved. Soldier, we thank you. On Veterans Day, you're the pride of America.
From the people at Coors to America's veterans.
You're the pride of today.
There's Ricky, the man that just caught the touchdown pass. Scampering in to give the Gators a 24-0 lead over this man's Georgia Bulldogs. What a great goal line stand after the Bulldogs took over the momentum offensively, marching 65 yards plus. The Gators stopped them at the 1 and in turn went 99 yards in 3 plays. Fair catch called for by Jim Hockaday on the kickoff. And the Bulldogs will have it at their own 25.
Smart play by Hockaday, signaling for the fair catch.
The 13th touchdown pass by Kerwin Bell establishes a new record for the University of Florida. Wayne Peace held the previous record for most touchdown passes by a freshman. And there's the drive.
3 games to go, Larry.
What a season. Wow. First down for the Georgia Bulldogs. Archie is in motion to the right. Williams hands to Smith. He gets a couple out to the 27-yard line. Tim Newton made the tackle. We were approximating that drive by the Bulldogs that stopped short of the goal line at the 1-yard line. It was a 69-yard drive for Georgia before the Gators put the clamps on them.
Well, we just started to say how important it was for the offense to come up with a big play and match what their defensive teammates have done, and they turned right around and threw the ball to Ricky Nattiel, who sprinted in for the 6.
Second down, and Williams throws to Lane. He's out to the 30, 35, and down he went at the 37-yard line.
Here's pass, complete to Lane.
Ricky Eastman made the tackle. He's been all over the field this afternoon. There's a pretty good combination. Kerwin Bell getting a little quick breather, and it's Lindsey Smith there with him. Florida has had a great fourth quarter this season. That is what Gators have accomplished in the final period. They have a 24-0 lead here as the handoff goes to Tate, tries to get outside, and Lars Tate is hauled down at the 43-yard line by Ricky Eastman. He is having a career afternoon. Adrian White was there also. Ricky Eastman, the only guy that really had a whole lot of experience outside of Roger Sibbald in the defensive secondary for Florida, playing one of his best games of his career. It's second down at about 4 yards to go for the Georgia Bulldogs at the Georgia 43. Williams looks, throws, it's caught at the 48-yard line, and Hockaday goes out of bounds, and a flag is thrown at the 48-yard line. Arthur White and Roger Sibbald were there to make the tackle. We'll have to see what the flag is all about.
Well, Georgia's starting to generate a little bit more offense with their passing game. At halftime, they had -2 net yards passing. They're coming out, throwing the ball a little bit better. Obviously, they have to throw the ball now. They're so disappointed that their last drive came up empty. They need to get something on the board immediately if they have a chance of winning this game.
The clipping call against the University of Georgia, and that'll cost him big yardage, marked from the 47-yard line. You'll see it here.
Andre Smith does a nice job of catching the ball, but the clip
was Hockaday that nailed him.
Jimmy Hockaday, number 85.
Then you run, 15-yard penalty. Third down. Second down.
So it's second down. You're right. About 15 yards to go for the first down. Let's correct that. The scoreboard shows 15, but it's more like 14 yards to go for the first down. Ball is at the 33-yard line.
One thing we need to remember, Georgia entered this game averaging 27 points a game on offense.
Williams back to throw. Looks, he's going long. He puts it high in the air. Lane is there. Lane can't get to it. Adrian White was about 5 yards beyond. It's Leon Pennington who banged up the toe earlier. And he is suggesting the possibility of an SEC championship and maybe #1 in the nation.
Well, regardless of what happens on paper in terms of the conference championship, these young guys will know in their hearts that they went out on the field and won it. Perhaps, of course, they have to win this game and the Kentucky ball game. But regardless of what happens on paper, these young men are excited in their hearts about their accomplishments.
It's third down and 14 yards to go. Williams back to throw, has time, now being rushed. He loses a tackler, gets out to the 35, the 40, 45, dives out of bounds at the 46-yard line, and that'll be short of a first down, I believe. Our vision is screened somewhat by the Florida bench, or the players along the sidelines. We'll get a different angle here.
Todd Williams was the starter for the Bulldogs earlier this season. He had won the job You can see he's got a lot of athletic ability. Again, his dad was a former Georgia Bulldog ball player also.
He too has a lot of Bulldog blood in him.
That's right, Bulldog blood.
It is a first down for the University of Georgia, so the scramble by Todd Williams keeps the Georgia drive alive. 12-13 left to be played in this ballgame. Talking about the fact that the Gators have shut out the Gators through shut out the Bulldogs through 3 periods. To take into consideration that they kept Auburn out of the end zone last week through 4 quarters, and 3 more quarters of shutout football here in this one. Quite a display. The pitch going to Lars Tate, and he gets out to near the midfield stripe. Alonzo Johnson made the tackle.
Stop by Johnson.
There's Tim Newton.
I love all y'all.
All right, Tim. Tim's a senior. You know he's happy. He deserves everything that comes his way. He's given the Gators great effort all throughout his career.
Brett Lane comes wide to the left for the University of Georgia. Cassius Osborne is split to the right as Williams drops back to throw. He's being rushed. He eludes a tackler, and he's down to the 45 and driven out of bounds at the 42-yard line by Ricky Eastman. Alonzo Johnson put some pressure on Todd Williams, forced him out of the pocket, but Williams has been very successful in the last 2 scrambles.
First down, Georgia.
It's another first down for the University of Georgia at the 42-yard line in Gator territory.
Well, we keep mentioning Ricky Eastman, and he's played very well this afternoon and deserves strong consideration for that Mid-State Federal Player of the Game that we'll be picking in a few minutes.
Lane is flanked to the left. Williams rolling to the left. Now being rushed. He's hit and dropped for a loss back at the 50-yard line by Keith Williams, a sophomore from Milton, Florida.
Williams sacked by Keith Williams.
Big sack for Williams. And it's a big loss for the Bulldogs.
Big Keith Williams from Little Milton, Florida. I wonder if Milton's bigger than Mayo. I bet it's a toss-up.
They're both bigger than my hometown of Malcolm, Nebraska, I'll guarantee it.
Malcolm,
Nebraska. Population 9-8. Second down, 17 yards to go. Williams straight back to throw. He's looking long, throws, and is behind Cassius. He had a look at it, but it was a little bit behind him. Roger Sybil put some pressure on, but Cassius Osborne could not make the catch.
Roger Sybil cannot believe he doesn't intercept this pass. He's reading it all the way. Oh, my goodness, he was just a shade slow getting there. Ball goes off his fingertips.
Now it's third down and 17. Ball at the 48-yard line. The Bulldogs must travel to the 31.5 to get the first down yardage. Lane goes wide to the right. Archie is split to the left. Williams again back to throw. He's throwing to the near sideline, intended for Archie. Caught it out of bounds. So that'll be fourth down for the Bulldogs.
Ricky Eastman almost...
Jarvis Williams apparently broke it up. Our vision was screened here by this camera in front of us, which belongs to us.
Absolutely. Jarvis Williams making the play. Number 26. What a strong effort by the Florida corners the last 2 weeks. Jarvis Williams and Ricky Eastman making some great plays.
So Chip Andrews will be forced to punt on fourth down and 17. Ricky Naptiel stands at the Gator 10-yard line. Andrews averaging 46 yards per punt, but has not had a good day this afternoon. Gets a good snap, and here's a high, short kick off to the right side, and it reverse bounce goes out of bounds around the 30-yard line. Boy, it's been a tough day for Chip Andrews. So the exchange of possession. The clock has stopped. 10:26 left. 24-0 Florida. We'll be back on the Gator Television Network.
Jason Robards.
I'm Jason Robards, and I'm alcoholic. I thought only losers became alcoholics. Then I learned it's a disease that could have killed me. I don't drink anymore. And now I really know what success is all about. Not just with my career, but with my wife, my children, and my life. I'm living proof you don't have to die for a drink.
Get help like Jason Robards got. Call the National Council on Alcoholism in your area.
On the next taxi, when Louie's mom moves out, he starts bragging he'll turn into a swinging bachelor. But everyone knows it's only a cover-up and plays along with the new Louie.
I'm talking about wild.
Until the party turns into a flop and they go all out to help him patch things up.
You'll all excuse me. I'm going to get my mommy.
On Taxi.
Watch it Monday at 5:30 on WXFL, Channel 8.
That score has prompted many of the Bulldog faithful to head for the exits, and in response, the University of Florida fans are waving goodbye.
You think they're going to miss him?
Not much. There's been two crowds that have really conducted themselves extremely well here this afternoon. They've had a great time. So far, it's been a disappointing afternoon for the Georgia fans, but the Gator fans, I think, probably feel that they had a little bit of this coming. Game's not over. 10:26 left to be played. Roll is in motion to the right. Lorenzo Hampton goes to the short side, breaks a tackle, still gets 5, possibly 6 yards. Kevin Harris made the tackle. Billy Hinson was out in front of Hampton to supply some blocks. Hampton was taking short, choppy baby steps, but each one advanced him further, and finally he burst for about 6. 2nd and 4.
That's the play that worked so well last week against Auburn, resulting in 3 touchdowns for the Gators. That's a play that Larry Zonka made famous with the Miami Dolphins, a misdirection running play.
Teal wide to the right, roll in motion to the right. Hampton's got a hold across the 40 and all the way out to the 45-yard line. Jeff Sanchez made the tackle. Another first down for Florida.
I tell you what, if Jeff Sanchez has not held on to Lorenzo's leg, it'd be another 6 points for the Gators. Big hole up front, 1 defender on the tackle.
First down for Florida, just shy of the 45-yard line. Clock running, 9:25 left in the game. Gators lead 24-0. Neal is in motion to the right. Again, it's Hampton. He's got 5, he's got 6, and now at the 47-yard line in Bulldog territory. It was Bill Mitchell to make the tackle along with Ron Coker. And again, it's another big gain for Lorenzo.
It seems like in the 4th quarter, that big offensive line starts to dominate all the opponents. Last week, Auburn was very much in the ball game until the 4th quarter, and the Gators kept pounding, and it took its toll in the 4th quarter. Again this afternoon, the big guys up front are doing some pounding.
It's 2nd down and 3 for Florida. John L. Williams pulls his way to the 45-yard line, and he may have picked up the first down yardage. Billy Mitchell made the tackle on John L. We'll see whether they stack or unstack.
Now, Galen Hall would love to see domination by his offense right here, a long series that eats up time on the clock, keeps the Georgia offense on the sideline.
Crawford Curry has come out of the ball game. Scott Trimble, a senior from Longwood, Florida, is to replace him. They're bringing the chain in for measurement. Those are the ball touching the 45-yard line. And it is a first down for Florida. .8:25 left. A little breather taken by this man, Keith Williams, along with Alonzo Metz, who gets a handshake from Mark Corp. What a day those guys have had. 1st and 10 for the Gators, just short of the Bulldog 45. Neal in motion to the right. And off to Lorenzo. He's got 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way down to the 36-yard line. Steve Boswell, a sophomore, made the tackle. He got some help from John Little, but it was power football.
Power football. Lomas Brown, Billy Hinson, Phil Bromley, Jeff Zimmerman, and John L. Williams, the fullback, has to block for the tailback to be able to pick up yardage, and John L. does a nice job. Scott Trimble, the other big tackle in there right now. Walter Odom, the tight end.
Time has been called for just a moment. Now the official is winding the clock. It'll be 2nd down and 2 with 7:33 left of the ball game. Neal comes wide to the right. McDonald flanking the short side. Shadows starting to get long here at the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville. John L. Williams just struggles forward, still on his feet, cuts to his right. He's at the 30, 25, 20, drilled out of bounds at the 16-yard line by Kevin Harris. John L. was all but down at the line of scrimmage, kept his balance, put his hand down, cut to his right. Big first down yardage. Gators are knocking on the door.
John L. Williams has had a number of his runs in his career just like this one, where he continues with that leg drive, great balance, bounces out to the outside, and has the speed to pick up a lot of additional yardage.
It's at the 17-yard line. John L. picks up the first down. Now Corlew has come into the game operating at fullback as Lowell goes in motion to the long side. Neil Anderson gets to the 15 and inside to near the 14-yard line for the Gators. John Little and Knox Culpepper made the tackle. Boy, I think back last year, Jim, on almost the same type of a play where the whistle sounded before John L. got into the end zone, and the touchdown did not count, and the Gators ended up losing it 10-9.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, that play is exactly one of the ones I was thinking about when you consider John L. Williams' career, his ability to stay on his feet. Last year they whistled the ball dead. Here they didn't.
Second down and 8 yards to go for Florida, and time is being called on the field by the Gators with 6:32 left to be played in the ball game. Florida leads Georgia by a score of 24-0. We'll be back with the conclusion of this afternoon's game in just a moment on the Gator Television Network.
Boy, Nick, I love it. I feel great. Yep. Sun, fun, and ocean breeze is just about all we need, pal.
Hey, guys, look at this. Wait till I show you. Whoa!
Murray, hey!
Guys, help!
Murray! Here, come here, Murray. Give me a hand. Murray, we got to work on your boarding technique.
Oh, gee, I'm sorry about that, guys. I guess I must have slipped up. Get it? Slipped up? That's a boating joke?
Yeah, that's funny, Murray. Murray, you got to be more careful. That's right, Murray, or at least a little more graceful.
Oh, hey, guys, I was careful. Look, I'm wearing my PFD. Ta-da! That stands for Personal Flotation Device. That's pretty smart, huh? Isn't that pretty smart?
That's smart, Murray. Of course, if you had your deck shoes on, you might not have slipped at all.
Oh, gee, I knew I'd forgotten something.
Yeah, almost all boating fatalities are caused by drowning. So all boaters know to be smart. Wear one of these. And, 2 of these.
They're just like us. Friends for life. What?
A message from the United States Coast Guard.
Mid-State Federal Savings and Loan is performance-minded and is proud to recognize outstanding individual performance with Mid-State's Most Valuable Player of the Game Award. Physical fitness, keen mental concentration, and a true spirit to win is what Gator football is all about, today and in the future. Well, you see the total domination that Florida's had in the aerial game this afternoon. They're down knocking on the door now as a result of a fine run by John L. And Bell is back to throw, uncorks it, and it's a little behind the intended receiver at the 10-yard line. That was Oda. Lindsey Smith is in the ball game now, as it is a 3rd down and 8. Kerwin Bell looking to the near sideline as Smith leaves the playing field. Clock is stopped with 6:32 remaining. 24-0 is the score. Bell gets the play. 19 seconds left on the clock to get this play underway. Natil is split to the right. John L. is back in at fullback. Hampton is the tailback. 8 seconds left on the clock, and Bell is back to throw, being chased, unleashes. It is incomplete. Nice play at the 12-yard line. The pass was intended for John L., but it was Williams, or Little, I believe, that got a hold of him and wrapped him up and would not allow him to make the catch.
One of the great things Kerwin Bell does is escape the sack. He doesn't hurt his ball club by getting an 8 or 10-yard loss. He throws the ball away. The guy is getting better and better with every ball game. Tremendous poise.
Bobby Raymond will attempt a 3-pointer. This will be a 32-yard attempt. Griswold will spot the ball at the 22. The snap, the spot, the kick is up. It looks good, and it is good. The Gators expand their lead to 27-0. With 6 minutes, 21 seconds left in the game, we'll be back from the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville in just a moment on the Gator Television Network.
The Florida Orchestra. The 1984-85 season of the Florida Orchestra. 10 evenings of pure pleasure. For individual or season tickets, phone 887-1013 in Hillsborough, 823-1870 in Pinellas. All major credit cards accepted. Call today.
Tampa Bay's clearest, most complete election coverage. That's what you saw on Newswatch 8.
Watch us.
Exclusive computerized returns brought you the results fast.
Watch us.
The Bay Area's largest news team came out ahead with more live reports, more of your opinions, more of what counts in the vote count, and more about what it all means to you and your family.
Watch us.
Decision 84. You saw it first. You saw it best on Newswatch 8. News watching out for you.
6 minutes and 21 seconds left to be played, and they're dancing in the aisles here at the Gator Bowl. The Gators lead the Bulldogs 27-0. As you see our shots coming in from this helicopter, which has been giving some fine shots from the air throughout the afternoon. Here's the kickoff. Fair catch called for by Jimmy Hockaday, and he grabs it at the 22-yard line. So now the Gators will see if they can stop the Bulldogs and perhaps post their second shutout of the season. They blanked Syracuse 16-0. They kept Auburn out of the end zone the last time out and have blanked the Bulldogs through all but the final 6:18 of this game.
Anytime you get a shutout in major college football, your defensive staff gets so excited, and well, they should, because it's so difficult to do. Georgia was averaging 27 points a game. They have none right now.
Now Williams will try to do something about it as he retreats to throw, throws it back to the near side, and he is upended at the 24-yard line. Jarvis Williams made the tackle.
While we're talking about defense, let's mention Joe Kynes, defensive coordinator, Dwight Adams, linebacker coach, Dan Coughlin, defensive line, Ty Smith, linebacker, Zaven Uralian with that secondary. Great job by all those men.
It'll be 2nd down and 8 following a 2-yard pass completion. Williams steps up, rolls to the right, cocks the arm, releases. Caught by Archie, is hit immediately at the 36-yard line by Ricky Eastman. I don't know that I can recall anyone out of the secondary being as effective this afternoon as Ricky Eastman has been. He has been every place.
He's been visible, that's for sure. What a great game.
They'll bring the chain in to measure, see whether the pass completion was good for the first down. It was. Vince Dooley, proud man who had an unbeaten SEC record coming into today's game. A 5-game winning streak after the loss to South Carolina 17-10. Knocked off Alabama, Mississippi, Vandy, Kentucky, and Memphis State. Ran into a buzzsaw here this afternoon. 5:21 left in the ball game. Williams looks, throws to the sideline, caught by Hockaday, and he's shoved out of bounds at the 40-yard line by Jarvis Williams.
Pass complete to
So the clock stops with 5:10 left in the half, left in the game.
You look at Georgia's record, and again, I believe they've only lost 4 games in the regular season in the last 4 years. Last year they beat Texas in the Cotton Bowl.
In the last 6 years, they've lost just 2 games and tied 1 in the SEC. They're 37-2-1.
That's an incredible performance.
I bet you. 2nd down and 3. Williams pitches back, and he is hit behind the line of scrimmage and dropped there. Keith Williams made the tackle on Tony Mangrum. Arthur White was also there. Mangrum, who had carried the ball a considerable number of times coming into today's game, has seen limited activity today. He was averaging about 4 yards per carry, but has been little used this afternoon. 4:42 left in the ball game. Williams has Archie to the left. Williams rolling to the right. Looks, throws to the sideline, incomplete, intended for Williams. On the far sideline, Ricky Eastman was there. His pass was poorly thrown and falls incomplete. That was Scott Williams, the man for whom the pass was intended.
Forcing the punt. Another big tribute to that Gator defense.
4th down and 4, and Chip Andrews will come in to do the punting for the University of Georgia, and Ricky Nattiel is back at his night to make it the 20-yard line. Andrews stands at his 25, awaiting the snap. Good snap, and here's the kick. A high, long, beautiful floating kick. Bounces at the 2 and goes into the end zone. That was by far the best punt of the afternoon for Chip Andrews. But it'll be brought out to the 20, and the Gators will have the ball with 4:21 left in the game. Galen Hall, the man who wears the title of interim in front of his head coaching position, may be hard-pressed to keep that in that capacity if he continues to do what he has done.
Yeah, you can remove that interim pretty quick, I think. You know, Galen Hall he says, what's the big deal about beating Auburn and Georgia? You know, I just take my guys out there, we line up on the field, and we go out and do it. He doesn't realize the years of frustration that Gator fans have gone through beating those two ball clubs.
Well, I guess you had to go through it to really realize it. I'm sure he understands it. But, here's Neil Anderson, cuts to the outside, and he gets to the 24-yard line. Hit there by Tony Flack, a junior from Greensboro, North Carolina. Well, you reflect back on everything that has happened to this football team throughout the year, off the field, as well as on with Dale Dorminey going down. Official timeout has been called. Every player down. Neil Anderson may have been banged up on the play. But when you think about the fact that Dale Dorminey went down on the Tuesday prior to the opening game against Miami at Tampa, and to see Kerwin Bell step in, and to see this team gel and come together, I'll tell you, it has been some kind of great overall performance.
Yeah, a tremendous tribute to the staff for maintaining and keeping this team together.
Well, there is Ricky Eastman, who has been selected as the Mid-State Federal Player of the Game. Very fine job, young man. Neil Anderson, I think, was just shaken for a moment. He is okay. He is not in the ball game at the moment. John L. takes over at fullback, and Lorenzo Hampton is in a tailback slot on 2nd down and 6. Neal is in motion to the left. Pitch back to Hampton. Touch back to his right. And runs into a pair of white shirts at the 26-yard line. Knox Culpepper, who has played so well throughout the day for the University of Georgia, and Carlisle Hewitt made the tackle. I just don't think you can give these Florida players too much credit for what they have accomplished this year.
Oh, absolutely. The big guys up front have just dominated every Saturday afternoon. There's 3 great running backs. You got a freshman quarterback with tremendous poise. You got some receivers who can catch the ball when they're called upon. And you got a defense that plays as a team unit.
3rd down and 5. Neal is in motion to the long side. Bell pitches back to Hampton. He is hung up, and down he goes at the 21-yard line. It was John Little that raced through and made the stop.
Real nice play by Little. He penetrated the line of scrimmage, made the play in the backfield.
2 minutes and 40 seconds left in the ball game. On 4th down, Ray Criswell will be punting the ball for the Gators, with Jimmy Harrell standing back on his own 37-yard line. Good snap. Here's the punt. It's a high, beautiful floating kick. Harrell takes it to 38, gets out to the 40, and spun down at the 43-yard line. Again, sensational punt coverage. Anthony Williams, a freshman from Tampa, downfield to make the initial contact. And there's the coaching staff. Galen Hall receiving congratulations from some of his assistants.
They all deserve the credit. The assistant coaches, they worked so hard during the week with preparing for the game, getting the players ready mentally and physically. There's not enough hours in a day for these coaches to work, and I have tremendous admiration for them.
That plus so many things that have gone on that everybody has rallied around this football team. These Gator fans are Sending some kisses your way from Jacksonville. It's going to be a happy group leaving here tonight wearing the orange and blue. Season and individual game tickets for the 1984-85 Gator basketball season are now on sale at the Gator ticket office. You won't miss a minute of action this season. Norm Sloan is going to have a very, very fine basketball team. The Gators will play an exhibition game on the 14th of November, then open the season against Central Florida on November 24th. You can contact the Gator ticket office for full information. Now, many of the red and black supporters are leaving the arena, but the orange and blue are going to stay till the very final gun and absorb all they can absorb. It's been a big week for some underdogs.
I don't think you could call that guy an underdog.
No, not that one.
He wasn't a bulldog, I know that.
2:16 left to be played. Williams to the sideline, Lane out of bounds. That'll bring up a second down. Ricky Eastman was there. Lane caught the ball out of bounds, and it'll be 2nd and 10. Clock stopped with 2:09 left.
Now you got to remember that not only the victory is important, but again, to the defensive staff, a shutout is such a tremendous achievement. They're doing everything they can to shut these dogs down here in the final 2 minutes and blank them on the scoreboard.
2nd and 10 for the Bulldogs. The ball at their own 43-yard line. Todd Williams being chased, eludes a tackler, throwing long. It is way overthrown. Looked for a moment as though one of the Gators downfield might have an opportunity to pick it off, but it was over Ricky Mulberry's head also, intended for Stanley Blaylock.
Nice job by Sam Garland, number 71 on the pass rush. Big Sam's about 6'7". He finally gets untangled and starts his pursuit of Williams, just missing him. Williams throws the ball down the field incomplete.
Now it's 3rd and 10, 2 minutes and second left. Williams again looking, throwing, looking at the 40-yard line, picked off by Mark Korf. He's across the 50 and to the 45-yard line in Georgia territory. Mark Korf, who missed 5 games. Look at the president of the University of Florida applauding Mark Korf, who missed 5 games, came back last week, had a big week against Auburn, and now intercepts Todd Williams.
Yeah, it's nice to see Mark Korf back in the lineup. He's such an inspirational player, and you need inspiration every series on defense, and Mark Korf comes up with a big interception.
His first of the season, Rodney Brewer is in at quarterback now for the Gators with 1 minute and 50 seconds left in the ball game. Corlew is in at fullback. Reggie gets the call, and he gets 5 quick yards for Florida. John Little made the tackle on James Massey.
I'll tell you what, there's years of frustration being vented here this afternoon by the orange and blue. They cannot believe the scoreboard, I'm sure, which reads 27-0.
Wickman comes wide to the right. Clock running, 1 minute and 20 left in the ball game. At the 38-yard line, the play is whistled dead. The clock continues to run. 1 minute and 9 left as Henry Williams made the tackle.
Bill Carr on the sideline, you know he's excited, the athletic director. All his staff deserves the congratulations, along with, of course, the man of the hour, Galen Hall.
46 seconds left in this ball game. The Gators just that many ticks away from shutting out the 8th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs. James Massey goes straight, correction, that was Reggie Corlew that went straight ahead to the 35-yard line. Bill Mitchell making the stop. Now time is being called. It is close to a first down. And they'll bring the chain in from the far side. 26 seconds remain.
I think the Itapa Keg fraternity is throwing a party in the end zone right now. Look at the smiles on these coaches.
boy, do they deserve that.
You're telling me.
Dan Brooks works with the Coast Guards. Galen Hall, Jimmy Ray Stevens, the young assistant coach.
Galen Hall suggested we run the quarterback sneak. There's Tim Newton. Frankie Neal. And on the other side, a contrast. Vince Dooley, head coach of the Bulldogs. That will be the final play of the game as the Gators post their second shutout of the season, beating the Georgia Bulldogs 27-0. The clock has been stopped with 7 seconds remaining.
Here we go. They started again.
There he goes. Galen Hall, the man of the hour, to the shoulders.
He was trying to tell his guys, he said, hey, guys, don't pick me up. Not this time. They said, hey, coach, we're taking you out there on our shoulders. He needs a big offensive lineman to carry him, too. I'll tell you that.
Well, it's difficult to find words to describe what has transpired here this afternoon. The Gators completely dominating the University of Georgia. As the two coaches exchange congratulations, the goalposts come down. A happy band of Gator football fans who have finally snapped the streak, the long, frustrating streak against the University of Georgia here at the Gator Bowl.
I'll tell you what, frustration is putting it mildly also. Tremendous victory for Galen Hall and his staff. Georgia's dominated this series the last few years, and it's a tremendous victory for Galen Hall. Came here as an assistant and had a tremendous record as an offensive coordinator at Oklahoma. Now he's enjoying the thrill of victory as a head coach.
The University of Florida supporters are parading the goalposts along the sidelines as Galen Hall is hooked up for the electronic medium and undoubtedly will be answering these questions that are poised to him right now for the next hour or so. Many will be the same questions. There may be some freshmen pop up.
Tell me if you can hear Bob Neal.
But it all boils down to the point that this man and his staff put together a game plan, and his players executed that game plan and completely dominated the University of Georgia, whether it was all physical ability, whether it was the expertise of the coaching staff, probably a combination of both. But a big, big win for the Gators today.
Well, what goes around comes around, and today was Florida's day. Many times in Jacksonville it hasn't been that way, but Coach Hall had his team ready. They performed well in all aspects of the game. A tremendous victory for the Gators, 27-0 over the Georgia Bulldogs.
That's the final. The Gators win it 27-0. We'll be back with more from the Gator Bowl in just a moment on the Gator Television Network.
I don't know what's happening lately, but people keep ordering Florida orange juice with everything.
Hot roast beef sandwich and a cold orange juice.
See what I mean? 2 tuna down, 2 Florida orange juice to go. I'll have a chef salad and a Florida orange juice.
100% pure orange juice from Florida. Order it whenever you want something naturally delicious and refreshing that goes with everything.
Don't mind if I do.
Orange is smart.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, I heard you bought a new Chevy S10 pickup like mine.
Well, I almost did. But I bought this new Ford Ranger instead.
Wow, is this yours?
Yep. My Ranger carries a bigger payload than S10, has a larger fuel tank, gets better gas mileage ratings, has standard halogen headlights, styled steel wheels.
Yeah, but with all those standard features, I bet your Ford Ranger costs more than my S10.
Yep.
Yeah.
$3 more. See the 5993 Ranger at your Florida and South Georgia Ford dealer.
Everyone thinks that Barnaby Jones takes all the risks. Well, listen, I have my share, too. Oh, sure, Barnaby encounters lots of danger, excitement, and shocking experiences, but I do a lot of legwork, too. Listen, it's not easy being the power behind the throne. I mean, you've got to take your knocks and come up smiling. Just remember that behind every great male detective, there's an even greater woman.
Barnaby Jones, weekdays at 4 on WXFL, Channel 8.
Isn't that Bruce Hutchcraft over there?
Newswatch 8's Bruce Hutchcraft is back on the road with more Florida getaways.
You're going to love these trips. We're going to stop in a little town where Christmas never ends, make a stop in Sarasota's museum, sail away on Tampa Bay, and take a dip in the Fountain of Youth. That and a lot more.
Those were great, Bruce. Where to now?
Getaway with Bruce Hutchcraft, all this week at noon and 6 on Newswatch 8.
Channel 8 salutes the Police Athletic League.
The big scoreboard in the end zone flashes. How about them Gators? That sort of says it all.
Once again, a big victory for the Gators, eliminating a lot of years of frustration with that Auburn-Georgia series, beating Auburn convincingly last week and then dominating the Georgia Bulldogs this afternoon.
Well, there's one game remaining in the search for the SEC title, and that is next week at Lexington against the Kentucky Wildcats. And we'll be there with all the action on the Gator Television Network. We hope you will be able to join us. That's about it from the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville. Larry Osterman speaking for Jim Yarbrough. Thank you for being with us. The final once again, Florida 27, Georgia nothing. See you next week from Lexington.
University of Florida Fightin' Gator Football has been brought to you by Coors Beer, Zenith, the members of Dairy Farmers Incorporated, Atlantic Bank, your Florida and South Georgia Ford dealers, Likes Meats, Scotty's, Farm Credit Service, Gatorade Thirst Quencher, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Florida, Eastern Airlines, and by Florida Citrus Commission.